Lee, see you Thursday.
All right,
tomorrow.
Cheers,
have a lovely Wednesday, okay? It is the 9 till noon show. Let's get a news update at 9 and say good morning, Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Searches are continuing for a 26-year-old man missing from the Buncrana area. Gardaí are seeking the public's help in tracing the whereabouts of Bernard McConway, who is described as being approximately 5 foot 10 inches in height, with a medium build, light brown hair and blue eyes. Gardaí and Bernard's family are concerned for his welfare. Anyone with information on his whereabouts are being asked to contact Buncrana Garda Station, the Garda Confidential line or any Garda station. The European Commission President says energy companies making record profits off the back of war is wrong. In her State of the Union address this morning, Ursula von der Leyen discussed the EU's plans to implement a cap on the revenue of companies producing low-cost energy for high prices. Member States will also be asked to reduce their overall energy consumption under the plans. Ursula von der Leyen says people are suffering due to the high prices and the EU will take action.
We are proposing a cap on the revenues of companies that produce electricity at low costs. These companies are making revenues they never accounted for, they never even dreamt of. In these times, it is wrong to receive extraordinary record revenues benefiting from war and on the back of our consumers.
Irish Water has reiterated that they are working to lift the boil water notice in Letchermack Ward as soon as possible. Work is ongoing at the water treatment plant to service the clarification unit and replace filter media. This work is expected to continue throughout this month. The notice, which was put in place on August the 12th, is affecting around 2,200 customers. The utility has confirmed that affected business customers will receive a 40% rebate for the duration of the boil water notice. And there's calls for a permanent traffic warden to be appointed to Donegal Town. Councillor Tom Conahan says motorists are experiencing significant delays entering and exiting the town due to cars parked on either side of the road. He says a number of issues need to be addressed.
Shocker block in Donegal for the simple reason, it's just more or less. I think the pay and display are going to have to get themselves sorted out a little bit as well. It's not on if it takes you 15 minutes to get into town on either side of the road. It's not on maybe someday once or twice a week.
Weather now overall cloudy and misty this morning with some patchy drizzle possible. Some brighter spells will develop this afternoon with highest temperatures of 14 to 15 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
When you hit a certain age, exercise can seem like all pain and no gain. I mean, no one wants to see yours truly wearing lycra. But keeping fit doesn't have to mean getting ripped. Simple things like bringing the dog for a walk. Come on! And taking the stairs more often can make a big difference. Work out what works for you. Get more tips at sportireland.ie/workout.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union. The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And it's a very good morning to you at 4 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday, the 14th of September 2022. How are you keeping? I do hope you're very well indeed. It's dark enough all morning, opening the curtains. There wasn't much light around. I suppose that's the morning's drawing in a little bit, isn't it? But anyway, hopefully the day brightens up for us all today. The lines are open for you right now. WhatsApps and texts to 086 60 25,000. Keep us informed, keep us updated, have your say, raise your issues, tell us your stories, your anecdotes. Give us a call if you prefer on 07491 25,000, and emails come into us at comments@highlandradio.com. And you can go onto our website, click Watch Live, and watch the programme there right now in your browser for the next 3 hours. See most of our guests as they join us on the programme. And also, you can go to our website. I just said that. You can go to our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland. Like and subscribe there, by the way, if you're a regular viewer, because it's useful in spreading the information. And also, if you're on Facebook, check us out across those channels. Right, okay. Let's have a look at the newspapers today. We'll start with the Finn Valley Voice. And Donegal County Council is to host a public meeting at Keys Hotel next Tuesday to press forward the search for public housing land. It's vital that all local people and businesses have their input at the meeting, which will determine where and which lands are rezoned for industrial and housing development around our town, a DCC spokesperson says. So get along and have your say, rather than, I suppose, whatever is announced being announced and people being taken by surprise and maybe thinking it's not the best idea. On to the Donegal Post now, and a Donegal County Councillor said that a survey of the condition of disabled parking spaces needs to be carried out. At the September meeting of the Municipal District of Donegal on Tuesday, Councillor Barry Sweeney put down the following motion: that this municipal district undertakes a survey of disabled parking spaces to ensure they are kept in good condition, that road markings are refreshed, appropriate signage is in place, and that there are a sufficient number of suitable spaces available in our towns and villages within the Donegal MD. He said, I'd suggest that a survey would involve the input of wheelchair users, carers and or disability groups, and that existing resources, including walkabout audits of Killybegs, Donegal Town and Ballyshannon, be utilised where necessary. I think that should be, and of course, and it's a good motion by the councillor, but you'd imagine at least annually or maybe every other year that such an audit would take place, wouldn't you think? On to the Inish Times now, and work on what would be the biggest road project ever undertaken in Inishowen could get underway as soon as 2026. A preferred route corridor for the N13 bridge end to the border project is expected to be finalised early next year. Road planners have narrowed the possible route corridors for the road through or around bridge end from 22 to 4 choices. It's expected that the new road will be a type of dual carriageway known as a 2+2. Options for the project include leaving the road through bridge ends as it is, improving the existing road or bypassing the village. 2 possible route corridors would take the bypass north of the village, with 1 southern option. Work on the project, which includes a 2 million study, has been underway for 2 years. And traffic studies show almost 17,000 vehicles pass through the village every day, while the capacity for the road is only around 11,000, which underlines the urgency of such a project. On to the nationals now. In the Irish Times, their lead story today: Ireland's share of European Union levies on windfall revenues currently flowing to energy companies would be used to provide direct support to citizens and businesses under government plans to be unveiled at the budget later this month. The coalition party leaders and senior ministers held discussions last night about the cost of living package, but the emerging plan would see any revenues taken from energy companies channeled into an expansion of the energy credit introduced for households earlier this year. Speaking at the Fianna Fáil Thinking yesterday in Mullingar, Minister for Public Expenditure Michael McGrath said the government would cap the revenues of energy companies, tax their windfall profits, and give all of the proceeds to households and businesses affected by rising electricity and fuel prices. We will provide direct support to our citizens and to our businesses, and we will take money off those energy companies who are making unjustified gains, he said. Senior government sources said they were awaiting further detail from the European Commission about how much Ireland would expect from the new revenue-raising plans. The supports that are to be introduced in the September 27th budget will be paid from existing government resources, they said. Well, let's see, we pay some of the highest electricity in Europe per head, per country. Does that mean we'll get more of this European cash coming from these companies' profits? I doubt it. Will we even get our percentage of our population as it is compared to the European Union? Who is to say? We'll keep an eye, because I think those will be interesting figures. Let's look at the Irish Independent now, and 2 members of the Low Pay Commission opposed its recommendation to increase the national minimum wage to $11.30 an hour because they thought the rise should be higher. It's understood that Irish Congress of Trade Unions nominees Fionnuala Ní Brogan and Michael Taft rejected the proposal set to be signed off by Cabinet today. What do you think of an 80-cent rise? I suppose, a slice of bread is better than no bread at all. A slice of a loaf, that is. But $11.30 per hour in this day and age, and that's for people over 21. It's much lower for those who are 18, 19 and 20, who often face the same bills. I never understood why it's staggered in such a way. When you hit 18, you're 18. You should be on the minimum wage as far as I'm concerned. But $11.30 per hour, with the cost of things going up, would an extra 80 cent an hour, say working 8 days, what's 8 eighths? Would $3.60 a day, is that what it is? I think it is. No, it's not. 6 8 of 48. 50. 64, right, sorry. I haven't done maths in a while. Would an extra $6.40 a day do anything to sort of ease your childcare costs, your fuel costs in your car, the increasing price of home heating oil, coal, whatever it is, your general outgoings, you understand what I'm saying. $11.30 per hour, an increase of 80 cents, $6.40 extra, I think it is, per day. Would that make much of a difference? It would be better than nothing, but, there's an opportunity here maybe considering, and the government are very quick to point out that the country is at full employment. They keep saying this over and over again, and yet we hear too from certain industries saying we can't hire people. We have to shut our doors for certain hours because we can't hire the staff. The people simply aren't there. Could it possibly be the fact that people can't afford to work for $11.30 an hour, which would be the new rate? Is it possible when you have a country that's almost full employment that means that perhaps maybe you increase the wages paid to people at the lower end to encourage more people into work or to help fill these positions? I would have thought that would have been logical. But anyway, the worker nominees wrote a minority report. They said would provide the government with an alternative and superior recommendation. The minimum wage is currently $10.50 an hour. Sources said they sought an extra $1.50 to bring the basic salary per rate to €12 an hour, which were in a space whereby people possibly could work with that. They claimed the Commission's recommendations of an 80-cent hike fails to vindicate the living standards of low-paid workers and threatens the introduction of a living wage. However, government sources said the 80-cent boost recommended by the Commission would be one of the biggest increases ever in the legally binding minimum wage. And I know seems like an obvious thing to say, but it feels very obvious, and I feel I have to say it. The people that are going to make this decision have just received a pay rise of €6,500 per year, and they think 80 cent is great and that it's one of the biggest ever, and giving themselves a round of applause. When we talk about a detachment from maybe, elected reps and the people, maybe that's really a perfect example. They, without even looking for it, received €6,500 of a pay rise, and they're going to be celebrating giving the lowest paid people, the people that need the money the most, 80 cent per hour extra. That's the country we live in, I suppose. The Irish Daily Mail, 2/3 want price cap on their utility bills. This is interesting because I wouldn't have imagined that the majority of people out there today, I can understand the short-term sense that we'd have some price certainty. I just think that they need to come up with a different way that doesn't leave us and our children and their children paying for this. Because if you cap price, what they're doing is they're taking our money, they borrow our money off us, and we pay it back at a higher rate. And not only we pay it back, our children pay it back. And then, of course, the utility companies continue to make record profits. They continue to gouge the market during a crisis, and yet the government borrows our money to give us our money back, and we have to pay more back than they borrowed off us. But 2/3 of you want that, which is fine. That's okay. That's a democracy. Over 2/3 of the public want energy price caps to be introduced rather than a discount on bills in a poll for the Irish Daily Mail and Extra.ie. The government has indicated that 2 more energy payments, potentially worth over €200 each, will be delivered in the coming months. But 67% of those quizzed in the Amarac research poll want an energy price cap similar to what has been proposed in the UK, while another 75% want to see a windfall tax on energy companies' profits. However, Taoiseach Leo Varadkar yesterday warned that a price cap would result in higher taxes, which he said was not an attractive option. And I find myself in a position whereby I might be, to some extent, agreeing with Leo Varadkar on that one. A really sad story across most of the papers. It's featured prominently in the Irish Daily Mirror. A heartbroken family of a student who died from a bleed on the brain after she did not receive an emergency CT scan say their lives have been shattered forever. Lisa Nilan, just 19, from Curry in County Sligo, died 3 days after she collapsed at a fast food restaurant 5 years ago. The inquest previously heard that a doctor did not sanction an emergency out-of-hours brain scan because he was not aware the patient had displayed neurological symptoms. Lisa collapsed at 8:30pm on January 17th, 2017. She was with her boyfriend about to order a milkshake when she slumped to the floor and vomited. She was rushed to Sligo University Hospital, where her father described her as groggy and imbalanced. Mr. Niland previously told the inquest, which resumed yesterday at Richmond Centre in Dublin, she got a sudden massive pain in the back of her head. She slumped to the ground, then she vomited. And the family have been speaking out today. It's a terribly sad situation. someone didn't do what they were supposed to do. And as I say, maybe the consequences aren't always as severe, but unfortunately hearing way too much of that type of story at the moment. The Irish Daily Star today. Are you out there looking for a change of job? Many people are, apparently. Is that something you've done? Is it something that's easy to do? Are you people are afraid to do it? Maybe we get settled where we are and we should take more risks and see if we can get grass greener on the other side. Well, the spiralling cost of living crisis is forcing some parents to search for new jobs and more pay. As soon as the new school term started, thousands of mums and dads began scouring the jobs ads, with 1 in 3 specifying extra money is key. The findings are revealed in the latest survey by job platform Breakroom. A spokesperson said some 31% of parents are planning to look for a new job as the school term starts. Some 67% of parents said they are looking to change jobs to secure better pay. Around 21% of them have changed their plans and are returning to work sooner to help cope with the cost of living crisis. So how big a factor is money in your decision? I mean, are you happy in your work now? But if you know, how much extra per year would you have to get, I wonder, to switch jobs? And finally, in the Sun, if you've got a wee one, walking with your baby for 5 minutes will stop it crying. Cradling or cuddling a tearful tot won't help, but a gentle stroll would do the trick. This is what they say. Being carried triggers a transport response that slows a baby's heart rate and calms them down. I think we all know this. I mean, how many of us who are parents have walked the corridors up and down with a screaming baby? It's what you do. You don't stand there still, do you? Nursing the baby, wondering why she or he not crying. You get on your bike, don't you, if you can. Experts at the Riken Center for Brain Science in Japan found taking a wonder also sends infants to sleep around half of the time. The parenting hack, as it's called, is used by monkeys, dogs and mice, as well as humans. Dr. Kunikarada said a baby's nighttime crying is a big issue and can lead to parental stress. Indeed, it can. All right, okay. I think we kind of knew that one anyway. I don't know how much they spent or how much time they put into that research, but who would have thought walking with your baby might stop it crying and send it off to sleep? Anyway, you can call us now on 07491 at 25,000.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Do you need to switch your current account or loan? We are now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features and competitive rate switcher loans.
Keep out the cold this winter and ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
If you're in business and you need to accept card payments, An Post offer the best value in card payment solutions, saving Irish businesses on average 25% on current costs. It's fast and easy to set up or switch. Your money hits your account the next day. Call An Post on 1-800-300-150 or email cardpayments@anpost.ie and start accepting card payments today.
Book a private VIP screening at Century Cinemas. Perfect for celebrating birthdays and special occasions. Featuring a private VIP screening with luxury reclining seating, delicious popcorn and a brilliant choice of movies. For further information on our VIP packages, call Century Complex Letterkenny on 07491 21976 or visit centurycinemas.ie.
Tourism businesses have a brand new mark of employer excellence, driven by the employee's voice. The Employer Excellence Programme recognises employers who consistently create better workplaces for their employees. Attract and retain top talent. Shine the spotlight on your business. The Employer Excellence Programme. Learn more at fultoireland.ie.
Free inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, your essential guide to the ploughing. Our bumper magazine has everything you need, including exhibitor listings, site map, event programmes, plus directions on how to get there and where to park. Don't miss your free guide to the ploughing inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Nutria's winter beef feed offer, directly supported by the Arrivo Fodder Support Fund, is now available at your local Homeland store. Buy 10 bags of Nutria's Super Beef Gold ATP or Nutria's Max Maize Mix, get one free. The Nutria's Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrias.ie for full product details.
Fancy a lunch out today? Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny have a menu packed with great value selections, and there's also specials every day. Or enjoy a 3-course Sunday lunch from 12 to 3 for just $16.75. Take a seat for the best value lunch in town at Kelly's award-winning diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme, and we welcome onto the show now John McConway, who's the father of Bernard McConway, who is currently missing. John, I'm so sorry for everything you and your family are going through today. It must be
Greg.
It must just be the most awful time for you all.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's difficult now.
Indeed. So we want the public to help in finding Bernard. He's 26 years of age. Tell us what we know and what people can keep an eye out for, John.
Well, we're concerned because he seemed to be lower on the stress sort of for him. He didn't go to work yesterday on that. We didn't know that, like, because he's living in his own house, like, and that. But he didn't go to work yesterday. And then about 3:10, he left his car at a house in the Willow Grove Estate, the Cockhollow Road, Buncrana. And it's a wine-coloured Hyundai i30. And nobody was speaking to him. He was wearing a white T-shirt, navy trousers, I think. And we seem to have had a couple of sightings then, I think, of him slightly after that, somewhere between 3:30 and 4 on the Cockhollow Road. Possibly on the Alice Clonmany side of where he left the car, walking on the footpath. Other than that, we really know nothing.
Okay, so we're appealing for anyone who, and directly actually, if Bernard happens to be listening, maybe he just wants a little bit of space to himself or whatever. Obviously, you and the rest of the family are incredibly worried. If he wants to not even contact anyone directly, just let someone know he's okay. Maybe he needs a bit of space, but primarily you want him home and you want him home safe. That's regardless of whether it's Bernard contacting you or a member of the public who might have information.
Contact anyone or anybody that knows. So if anybody has seen anything, or that, so I'd want anybody to check, I suppose, mainly around the Buncrana area, but the wider area, Clonmany, Alice, Fawn, anywhere, just check their outhouses and so on. For that's like from about 4 o'clock yesterday evening that there's no sighting or contact. So we're just wondering, if anybody was even in that estate about 3:10, if they've seen him leaving the car there, leaving, or anybody else.
Or anyone who happened maybe to talk to him or anything at all.
Yeah.
Any little bit of information. And anyone in that area and the wider area, check out houses, check your land, check whatever it is, just to see if you can help. So we know
if any businesses or households or anything that has cameras up, if they could check them or that to see if there's anything, basically from, we'll say, 3:30 yesterday on to now, that if there's anything, or even anybody that was in that vicinity, especially the Cockhollow Road area of Buncrana from 3:30 onwards with dash cam, if they could check it or get it to the Gardaí to check it or whatever, just to look for any wee thing, be help, like.
Okay, and time is of the essence, so if people could do that as soon as possible and keep their eyes open. Now, there are pictures on our website, there are pictures on social media. People can check them out and have a look at images of Bernard just to see if it triggers any memories. Just remind us again what you believe he was wearing, John, at the time.
We think he was wearing a white T-shirt
Right.
and navy. I think it was tracksuit bottoms. I think.
Okay.
And greyish runners.
All right. John, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's just mainly to the public to to check anywhere that they think any outhouse or anything, and cameras, dash cams, all that. Anything to see anybody walking on the road or anything like that.
Okay. Well, John, listen, we're all praying for a positive outcome.
Contact the Gardaí or yourselves there either.
No problem.
You just could pass on the message.
We will 100%, John. If we hear anything at all, we will get that information straight to you. And we're all thinking on you, and we're thinking on Bernard, and maybe he's listening. It'd be lovely if you could get home and let people know he's okay, because people are really worried, and you just want him home now.
Yeah.
All right, John.
No,
listen.
that's about it.
Okay,
right.
Listen, thank you, and we're thinking on you
Greg.
and the rest of the family. Okay, take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so any information, I mean, primarily to the Gardaí, or if you want to pass it on to us, or if Bernard happens to be listening and wants to pass on just a message to say it's okay, anything we can do in any way, shape or form to try and assist in that situation. Our contact details on that matter, or whatever else it might be. Actually, before I do, I want to read the Garda press release on this missing persons. It's Bernard Conway, 26 years of age, from Buncrana. They're seeking the public's assistance in tracing the whereabouts of Bernard, who was last seen in the Buncrana area on the yesterday evening, Tuesday. Bernard's described as being around 5'10" in height with a medium build. He's got light brown hair and blue eyes. Gardaí and Bernard's family, of course, are very concerned for his welfare. And an image of Bernard is available on our website and also on various social media outlets. And as you can hear from John's voice there, they really want and are very keen for Bernard to get home safe and sound. Okay, we'll be back with more on the programme after this quick break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
There's only one thing as good as a TUI holiday, and that's looking forward to one. So get next summer sorted and secure your TUI holiday today. Choose beach, lakes and cruise breaks across a wide range of destinations, including Mexico direct from Dublin, plus all your favourites like holiday villages, Splash World resorts and our own TUI Blue hotels. Secure now with thousands of free child places and a low booking deposit of €25 per person. That's next summer's holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy. T's and C's apply.
Hello, how can I help you?
I'm looking to claim on my insurance policy.
Okay, and what type of chip do you need to claim for?
It's not a chip. I was in a minor accident.
And was your windscreen chipped in this accident?
No, it's just my backlight and the bumper.
So your windscreen is not chipped?
No.
Unfortunately, our policies only cover chips.
Do you get the feeling that you're not getting the right cover? Well, at Local Insurance, we are Irish owned and understand your needs. Call us today for a bespoke quote on 0818 894 444. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Make big savings in the final clearance sale at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. Like top label polo shirts, jackets and fleeces, just $24.95. Or get 2 for €40. Casual shirts and knitwear for $29.95. Or 2 for €50. A selection of super dry, now half price. There's also 25% off selected suits and many more great savings in every department. In the final clearance sale at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny.
With everyone looking to shrink their bill these days, Dunnes Stores gives you new ways to save on your shop with double savers. First, you'll save in the aisles when you fill your basket with fantastic low prices across thousands of great products. Then you'll save again at the till with our 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Shrink your bill with double savers, new from Dunnes Stores. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
All right, we have a couple of statements in from the Department of Education and also Irish Water. I'll get to those in a moment because I don't want to delay our guest who's on the line with us. But just as it relates to the Clonmany situation, the last line of the press release from the Department of Education is really quite telling, I think, as to how they don't really understand what's going on. Because my understanding is that all the children that are turning up at the crossroads for the bus to Clonmany, in Clonmany, have valid tickets. Okay, and what happens is that there is, 32 students and 25 seats, something along those lines. But the last part of this statement says, for safety reasons, only students with a valid ticket for school transport will be permitted to travel on the school transport service. We've made it very clear to them. The problem is as far as I'm aware, and parents, you can correct me if I'm wrong, all of the children that turn up for that bus have valid tickets. There just isn't enough seats, and it's different children that miss out every day. But I'll read those press releases in more detail shortly. But first, on to some important news now. It's the launch of free contraception. It's a free contraception scheme for young women. It's been called a transformative change by the National Women's Council. Women aged 17 to 25 can register for forms of birth control through their GP from today onwards. Women who access contraception through a medical card can also avail of the new scheme, while the cost of removing a current contraceptive device is also covered. Dr. Sarah Brennan is a GP and lecturer at the University of Galway. Good morning, Doctor. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Hi. Good to be here today.
Yeah, and it's good to be speaking about something that a lot of people will see as positive. And I presume that's your view, Sarah.
Absolutely, yeah. We've all been hoping and waiting for this for the last few years since the introduction of the termination of pregnancy. So this is a really important part of that we provide free contraceptive care to all women. And I know now it's for the younger women, aged 17 to 25, but that's a wonderful start. And I suppose it's the group who have hardest access to financial ability to be able to pay for contraception. So I think that's a really positive move.
And I'm not being smart, but obviously, people don't win the lotto on the 26th birthday. We would hope this would be extended to all women and people of childbirthing age. Is that the right phraseology? What am I?
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say, that it would be extended as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the plan of the government and the HSE and the ICGP, that this will be expanded over the years and that it will be available for all women of childbirthing age. Yeah,
and bearing, I think, was the word I was struggling for, but we got there. Sarah, how do people access this scheme? Let's start actually for people who are aged 17. Does it require parental consent?
No, so from that age on, it doesn't. We always encourage young girls accessing contraceptive care to let their parents know, because it does incur risks, and it's really important that their parents, who are their guardians, know. So that's part of the process that we encourage them to let their parents know, because it is in their benefit for them to know. Yeah.
Okay, so for all then 17 to 25-year-olds up to the day before your 26th birthday, how would they avail of this scheme?
So they just have to attend their GP as normal, and then people who have a GMS card, they won't be getting their script on the GMS script. They'll be getting it on a regular kind of private, the regular non-GMS script. And they go to the chemist, and then with their PPS number, they'll be able to get that particular contraceptive for free. And then the consults are covered. So we apply for payment for the consults for all contraceptive interactions, if you like.
Yeah, and will this see more women on, taking contraception, or will this ease the financial burden of those that do? I mean, it's going to be a bit of both, but the question really is this to maybe encourage people who have a financial barrier to contraception to start taking contraception?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be better contraceptive care. It'll be done in a safer way with less risks. And of course, we'll be reducing the rate of unplanned pregnancy. So that's really what it's all about. It's allowing unhindered access to free contraceptive care. So this is really important. And I don't think things will change on the ground, other than there'll be less use of morning after pills, and then hopefully less use of termination of pregnancy. So that's really important, because we want to to optimise people's health and well-being, and that all contributes to that.
Is the cost of a coil insertion covered under this scheme?
Yeah, it is. All coil insertions are covered under the scheme. The cost of them to be inserted by the doctors. The ones with progesterone in them, they're covered. The payment or the cost of those particular coils are covered under the scheme. The cost of a copper coil is not yet covered, and that's because it's not licensed in Ireland. But people would be able to pay for that themselves, and then the cost of insertion would be covered. But that's kind of a little, it's a little speed bump, I suppose, and that's trying to be ironed out, that will be covered in future. But at the moment, it isn't covered, the cost of the copper coil.
When we were talking about 17-year-olds, you talked about potential health risks, and the wise thing would be to discuss it with parents or guardians. But in terms of health benefits, there can be some health benefits to some women in taking the pill. Is that being considered as part of this, and what might those benefits be?
Oh, absolutely. So people who have very heavy periods, taking the pill can help with that, and that will also be covered. So it may not be for contraceptive reasons, but it can be used for those kind of symptom sets as well. So there are other benefits, and I'm just trying to think here now.
No, that's okay. I don't want to put you on the spot. People might already know that, and just in relation to where free contraception can be accessed. I mean, it can't be over the counter at a pharmacy, presumably, because this is a prescription drug. Do you see outside of GPs any other healthcare settings where this could be made available into the future? Women's health centres, for example, or clinics?
Yeah. So we do have free contraceptive care clinic for young girls in the Women's Centre in Letterkenny. We haven't yet figured out if we're going to be able to access this funding through the HSE, but that's something that we will have to figure out. But certainly in other jurisdictions, women can access contraceptive care in pharmacy settings, and maybe that'll happen here in time, not yet currently. But certainly, opening up to other opportunities and potentials is really important, because we want it to be as accessible as possible for everybody.
And finally, some have made the argument in the past that, making this type of medicine free might send a message to young people that might be more promiscuous, or, I mean, just a quick word from you as a medical professional on someone that might bring that argument forward.
Well, I think having discussions about sexual intercourse and love and relationships is really important, and that's all part of contraceptive care. And I think it's just helping young adults to be responsible young adults when they're in relationships and engaging in sexual intercourse. There are risks. Pregnancy is one of them. Sexually transmitted infections is another one, and being aware of those risks and managing oneself in a way that optimizes our health is really important. So I think that's really where we have to focus, is that personal autonomy is really important, and taking responsibility for the effects, the consequences of the choices we make is really important. And free contraceptive care, I think, is essential to be able to help people manage that for themselves. So I think, as an argument, I don't really believe it's important, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
I think
in the widest scale
it's
of
important.
things,
yeah, personal autonomy is really important, and being responsible.
Okay, very finally, Sarah, sorry, I know I said the last question was the final question, but people who aren't on a medical card, okay, but they can't qualify for a medical card, but they still have their resources are very tight, and maybe that has been a barrier to them being on the pill. Will they have to pay the GP for a consultation to receive the script? Do we know? Will that also be covered under this scheme? Because, as I say, that in of itself could be a barrier that could still mean that some women wouldn't be able to access the pill if they wanted to.
And are these women between age 17 and 25?
Yes, but they don't have a medical card. But, obviously they might be in that target group of those who are under financial pressure. In other words, will they have to pay the 50, 60 or 70 euro to see a GP to get the prescription?
No. So all of the consults are covered. So the counselling consults, the prescription, everything is covered. Yeah.
Okay,
so there's no financial barrier at all for people between age 17 and up to age 26. So just on the day before their birthday. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, Dr. Sarah Brennan, thanks for that information. Take care of yourself. She's a GP, of course, and lecturer at the University of Galway. Okay, so that is from today. A caller says, is the cost of the consultation covered in the scheme? As we heard from the doctor, yes, it is. Greg, please ask the doctor, this just came in a little late to me, please ask the doctor if this will help in lowering the number of abortions each year. Well, the doctor said that was one of the positives of this scheme, that it may prevent people having to take the morning after pill or abortions. She said that early on in that interview. Right, so we got on to the Department of Education as it relates to school buses. As you know, many students, it's not just in the Clonmany area, but we've been highlighting that case, I suppose, as an example of what's going on. We heard to situations in other parts of the country where students either haven't got tickets, haven't got their tickets yet, or they have tickets but there's not enough space on the buses. Well, it's a long one. The Department of Education, I'll read out some highlights. Bus Éireann will continue to process applications and to issue tickets as soon as extra buses and drivers are sourced and become available to provide transport for the higher numbers qualifying for the service. Regrettably, however, the unprecedented numbers of new applications for the upcoming school year have led to some delays in issuing tickets. Bus Éireann is continuing to work through remaining applications and families will be contacted as further information is available, they say. The number of tickets issued to date in Donegal is 9,588, an increase of 7% on last year. Well, we have that information already. While the department does not comment on individual cases, Bus Éireann has confirmed that in order for a ticket application to be successfully processed, the ticket registration process has to be completed by the closing date of the 29th of July. And then they go on to tell us again that the normal eligibility criteria of the scheme still apply. But why didn't they tell that and get that information out to concessionary ticket holders and others when they were announcing this scheme? Pupils at primary level are eligible where they live no less than 3.2 kilometres from and are attending their nearest primary school, they say. At post-primary level, students who live on no less than 4.8 kilometres from and are attending their nearest post-primary school education centre are deemed eligible. Any pupils or students who do not meet these criteria are deemed not eligible, or otherwise known as concessionary applicants, and are allocated a ticket based on the availability of a seat on when all eligible children have been catered for. And then we read on, the Bus Éireann online account management system known as the Family Portal reopened on Thursday the 25th of August, where applications have been processed. The reopening of the portal will enable account holders to check the status of their application. Families that have already submitted a valid application prior to the 29th of July and have not yet received an update are advised not to amend or alter their existing application, as creating new or duplicate application risks losing their existing application placed in the system. Well, I mean, is that clear? You know, there could be people who got in early, applied before the 29th of July. They said, well, hold on a second, I haven't received my ticket yet. I better go in and check, reapplied, and they potentially could lose their place in the system, which is terrible. And then they say that last line, for safety reasons, only students with a valid ticket for school transport will be permitted to travel on school transport services. But the problem is that we have children with tickets and they are turning up for the bus and the bus is full. Was it the same this morning? 086 60 25,000. Right, we were talking then yesterday about the boil water notice on the Lettermack Ward public water supply and surrounding areas. It's been in place since August 12th. We talked about it around about that time, back talking about it 1 month on. So we contacted Irish Water, and again, they have issued a very, very long press release. And, you know, if they just made someone available to us, it would make it so much easier, and it would be better for them, and it would be better for the consumer, because there would be a sense that they're interacting directly with them. But anyway, thank you for your query regarding the boil notice on the Lettermack Ward public water supply. Public health is Irish Water's number one priority. The notice arising out of operational difficulties at the Lettermack Ward water treatment plant is in place to protect the health of around 2,200 customers in the Lettermack Ward, Portnew, Rossbeg, Cleangort, Doohery, Meena Cross, Dewey, Glenties Road, Mahary and Falmore areas. Now the problem is, and this was highlighted yesterday, It is there to protect 2,200 customers. But unless those customers either A, are on Twitter or maybe Facebook, I don't follow Irish Water on Facebook, or happen to read an ad in a paper or listen to an ad on the radio, they wouldn't know that this boil notice was in place. And we heard yesterday of people that only found out in recent weeks, and they've been experiencing stomach upsets and what have you. I think it's incumbent on Irish Water in instances like this to contact people directly, especially where serious health issues could arise. But they say that we should be assured they're working with the council and the HSE to monitor the supply, and as soon as it's safe to do so, they'll lift the boil notice. Work to service the clarification unit and replace filter media, which are integral components of the water treatment process, is ongoing and is likely to continue throughout September, they say. And then they go on to say that business customers will receive a 40% rebate on the cost of supply of water to their business for the duration of the boil notice. And on they go. Unfortunately, as I say, it's huge. I can't read it all. I'd be here literally all day. But we're no further on. No apologies as such directly for the lack of information, the lack of communication. No details as to what's in the water that people should be afraid of. You know, they don't say that. Or they don't say anything to assist the public in paying for the water. We heard yesterday from a lady who's facing a bill of $80 a month on bottled water. And still, when she boils the water, is complaining of upset stomach. Okay, let's get back to more calls after this quick break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account. Cutting through the spin. The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, your football specialist. Multi-buy discounts on footballs from Mitre, Adidas and O'Neill's. Training equipment, cones, bibs, water bottle sets. View our complete range on bmcsports.ie. Have your team look the part with some Adidas leisure wear. New Entrada 22 quarter zips with matching bottoms. Training packs available for all ages. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online, mobile. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
With a smart meter, you can take full control of your home's electricity usage. But here's the important bit. Only if you sign up to an Electric Ireland smart meter plan. Our personalised usage insights will help you make the most of your electricity. So if you'd like to find out the perfect time to put on a wash or see how your bill's looking on any day of the month, search Electric Ireland smart meter plans and find out the best plan for your home. Smart meter required. T's and C's apply.
Dogs, cats, rabbits, birds and fish. Some of the popular home pets that need care and attention every day. At Gary's Pet World, our fully trained staff are here to help you and your pets. We offer great advice and value on all foods, accessories, grooming and care products, with incredible offers on all leading brands. Shop in store at Gary's Pet World, Letterkenny Retail Park, open 7 days per week, or browse and buy 24/7 at petworld.ie.
At Abbott, a global healthcare company, we are dedicated to helping people live more fully while providing our employees the opportunity to build a career with a purpose and live their own best lives. Now you can join us to shape the future of diabetes care in our Donegal location. 1 in 10 people around the world live with diabetes, and our operations in Donegal will help people worldwide manage their health more effectively and comfortably. We are looking for engineering, quality, medical device manufacturing and other science-based professionals that want to be part of this exciting opportunity. Make your next career move today by visiting jobs.abbott.com/Donegal or visit us on Facebook or LinkedIn. Abbott, we build careers and change lives too.
Imagine a whole new way to save on your electricity with Bord Gosh Energy's Super Saver plan. Just by switching to Bord Gosh Energy this September, you can get 39% off your electricity, so you can spend your money where it matters most. Switch your electricity to our Super Saver plan at boardgoshenergy.ie. EAB €1,185, 12-month discount with direct debit and paperless billing. Unit rate and standing charge apply. See boardgoshenergy.ie for EAB prices and full T's and C's.
All right, I've been asked to mention this to you. If you're in the Buncrana area and you're one of 623 customers who were expecting a power outage today, it's not going ahead. That outage has now been cancelled. It was planned to facilitate new connections, but it's not going ahead for technical reasons and will be rescheduled in due course. So if you are one of 623 customers who received a notification that your power was going out today, we've been told by ESB that that's not actually going ahead as scheduled, and it will at a later date. they'll let you know then. Right, Ray Doherty is in Morville. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Great to chat to you, Ray. I'm feeling good, thanks. Right, okay. This is a really interesting story. Right, take us back to what happened. You're a familiar visitor to Italy, and it's in Italy that you made this discovery.
That's correct. Yeah, we go to Italy every year on our family holiday, and this year when we were in Italy, we would go snorkeling a lot, but we would go to a wee place where we would come familiar with them. We would have called it the Crystal Cove, and we would go down maybe in the afternoon, me and the three boys, Charlie, Alfie and Harry, snorkeling and pretending we were looking for treasure. That would have been my way of getting them to come down snorkeling with me, to get them out for a couple of hours and get them active. So we were down one day anyway, Greg, and we were snorkeling, and my youngest boy, Harry, turned around and he says, "Daddy, look, I found something." And we went over, and it was a wee silver tag, and it was actually still jammed between a rock. Wow. But we managed to get it out, and we went back to the apartment, and we were looking at it, and we found the name, Fred A. Waldeny, and we cleaned it up a bit, and then you could see the number on it, and there were a blood type number on it then too. Really? So we knew it was a dog tag. So we had it in the apartment, and I'd put it into my shaving bag, for when I was going home, and I'd forgot about it until last Monday night. I was lying in bed, and I said to my wife, "Jeepers, I must look at that dog tag and see if I can get a bit of research on it." So I went in and I got it out of the toilet, and I was lying in bed. So we got to a cemetery in Pennsylvania, America, and we located the grave and a photograph of the grave. So I went down to my oldest son, Charlie, then, and I says, "Look, Charlie, I've tracked the grave down." So he would be good on the internet, and he turned around and he says, "Let me see it there a minute." So there was a Facebook, I think it was, and he put a post up there, and he said, "I'm going to put a post up to see if anybody connected to this man."
And before we get to that, Ray, I'm sure you sort of chatted to each other and were kind of supposing how these dog tags came to be where they were. Like,
yeah.
What were you before you sort of started the Facebook investigation? What did you conclude may have happened, or why they might have been there?
Well, I thought because learning and history about the World War, you knew that the Americans were based in Italy at the time, and they would have been going through Italy. So we were back in the apartment, and for a few days we were trying to find out, and we were Googling and all, but we were coming to a dead end. It was like a wee adventure for the boys. They were really excited about it.
They found treasure. That's what you go snorkeling for, and they found treasure, or what might appear like it,
yeah, that's right. And I turned around and said to them, but then the novelty would wear off. Then after a few days, they kind of forgot about it, and the same as myself. So then last week, did
you think he'd been swimming, or did you think maybe he died in action, or like what was your working theory, Ray?
No, I actually thought he must have been down there, and he was swimming.
Yeah.
And maybe he lost his dog tag when he was swimming.
Right.
So
okay, so let's get back to the Facebook post then. Sorry, I was just interested in your views as to what
you're okay. It's
about.
very interesting. It's unbelievable, to even think about it. But then, so my oldest son Charlie, then he put the post up on the graveyard's Facebook page. Did anybody know this man, or does anybody know connections to him? And lo and behold, the next evening I was down in the kitchen, and Charlie came down and he says, "Daddy," he says, "look, these people have got in contact with me." And the story went from there. Then it was actually the daughter of the man, and she couldn't believe it. And she was over the moon. She actually turned around and couldn't believe that we took the time to investigate into it, and then to contact them through the Facebook page. So Charlie said they wanted the photograph of the dog tag and how we found it and blah, blah, blah. So Charlie explained everything to them through the text. And then on, I think it was Monday night, the lady came back to us on Monday night and said, would we be open to doing a Skype or what do you call the other one?
Zoom?
Greg,
Skype or Zoom?
Or WhatsApp, yeah. One of them, I know. Would we be open to doing that? They really want to sit down and chat to us and talk about how we can get the dog tag back to them.
Because in a way, you've kind of plugged a bit of history. Their father returned from the war and went on to live his life in America, is from what I can read. But they had asked him, the daughter had asked him about the dog tags in the past. And their dad was so important to them too. They'd sat him down and videoed him recounting his stories. Do you know what I mean? Before he passed away, so they had some sort of a memory of that. So, in a way, finding these tags has answered that question that this lady Janet asked, or Christine had asked of this man.
It's unbelievable, Greg, when you think about it. To think that man would have served in Africa and then to serve in Italy, right? And then to have probably swam in the lake and messing about by all the soldiers and lost his dog tag. And then for an Irish family to find it 70-something years later and they bring it to Ireland. And now the connection you've got with England and getting it back to that family, it's like a real treasure to them. It's something that man would have had around his neck all the time.
Unbelievable. And you have this
Beautiful.
course. Yeah, it's fantastic. It really is. And the world is tiny, Ray, isn't it? It's tiny.
Yeah.
You're from Moville, out in Italy. Find these. Well, you did amazing research yourself. Then one post on Facebook, in the right place. The family note. Now you're going to be meeting them via video call.
We're going to be meeting them.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
which is brilliant.
Did you see the photograph Greg had sent in of him when he was the photograph of him joining the army? Before he
like a film star.
His dog tag. His dog tag would have been on him at that time.
Yeah.
Onto the shirt.
So true.
Imagine that.
So true. And they're so important too. We know what former, pretty, especially in America, the dog tags have a very big significance to them. It's going to be a really interesting conversation because randomly you now are connected to this American family because you found something that's so important to them, and it's an amazing story, Ray. And the right person found it too. You see, that's what's interesting because another person, they could have just ended up stuck in that shower bag, or maybe even never made it as far as
away. Not even not even thought anything of it. Like
so, the right people.
The three boys now. Honest to God, Greg, the fun you would have had with them going snorkeling and doing these kind of things like it. They even actually interacts their brains, and it makes their brains expand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It makes it like a fun game too.
Well, it's fun and it's learning, but it's also engaging with nature and exercise and all that stuff. Listen, Ray, it's a brilliant story. I'd love a catch-up maybe when you've talked to this family, if you're open to it, because
I will surely. No,
it's a lovely
story.
But
before I go, Greg, can I turn around too and just say, do you know the 24th we're doing a big march in Dublin?
Yes, we're going to be talking about that very shortly. Yeah, go ahead, Ray. Yeah.
Well, could we just call out for everybody, as many people as we can, to attend it, because we do need everybody together now, because at the end of the day, we're all living in tough times, and the way they've left the people affected by Micah, I think that government are just... They're beyond the joke now.
And Ray, I think the sense is that, and we're seeing a protest that was organised for Dublin today, not very well attended at all. What happens is if the 24th one isn't well attended, it's a green light for the government to carry on whichever way they want to. It has to be a big crowd. All right, Ray. As I say, we're going to be talking about that.
You have to turn around and just think it's only one day of our lives, and that's what it does.
Yeah. All right, we're going to be talking about that later. By the way, Ray too. By the way, we're not.
Good man.
All right, take care, Ray. Ray Doherty from Moville. What a great story.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union. 9102127. Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
From the smallest shrub to the largest tree in an awkward place, Donnelly Tree Services provide a complete range of tree surgery services. Whether you need to remove a dangerous tree or some nuisance branches, Donnelly Tree Services have the experience and expertise to carry out tree surgery to the highest of professional standards. Call 083 005 9939. Donnelly Tree Services, Donegal. No job is too small, no tree is too tall.
Bachelor Boys Multi-Breed Pedigree Ram Sale takes place this Friday night in Rafo Mart at 7 p.m. 100 top quality rams on offer, including Badgerface, Blue Texel, Charlet, Texel, Suffolks, Beltex, Dutch Spotted, Rouge, Blue-Faced Leicester and Border Leicester. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
At GMG Stone we have special end of season offers on decorative stone, garden paving, slabs and artificial grass. Treat your garden to a final makeover this summer. Call into GMG Stone beside Donaghy Motorhomes on the Port Road. But hurry, offers only while stocks last. GMG Stone, just what your garden needs.
Wellness awaits at the multi-award-winning V-Spa, set within the confines of the 4-star Villa Rose Hotel Ballybuffet. As a sanctuary of tranquility and relaxation, the V-Spa specialises in advanced facials together with Medi-Spa treatments featuring chemical peels and microneedling. This September, the V-Spa have released a collection of autumn wellness packages that are guaranteed to leave you feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. View the autumn spa packages online today on villarose.ie.
The Aer Lingus takeoff sale is now on. We've taken money off fares across North America, with flights from €149 each way as part of a return trip. So you can take off to see leafy Boston in fall, take off to the hustle and bustle of New York, or take off to Star Spot in LA. Take off with Aer Lingus. Book now at airlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability. Travel between November 1st, 2022 and March 31st, 2023.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donal Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. The father of a missing Buncrana man is urging people to check their outhouses and business owners to review CCTV footage. 26-year-old Bernard McConway was last seen yesterday afternoon. He's described as being approximately 5 feet 10 inches in height, of medium build with light brown hair and blue eyes. He's believed to have been wearing a white t-shirt and navy trousers. Gardaí and Bernard's family are concerned for his welfare. John McConway says his son left his car outside a house on the Cockhill Road.
And because he seemed to be lower in the stress sort of for him, he didn't go to work yesterday. And then about 3:10, he left his car at a house in the Willow Grove Estate, the Cockhill Road, Buncrana. It's a wine-coloured Hyundai i30. So if anybody has seen anything...
Irish Water has reiterated that they're working to lift a boil water notice in Lettermecca Ward as quickly as possible. Work is ongoing at the water treatment plant to service the clarification unit and replace filter media. The work is expected to continue throughout this month. The notice, which was put in place on August 12th, is affecting around 2,200 customers in Lettermecca Ward, Portnew, Rossbeg, Cleangort, Tuhurimina Cross, Dewey, Glenties Road, Mahary and Falmore areas. The utility has confirmed affected business customers will receive a 40% rebate for the duration of the boil water notice. Donegal Airport and Donegal County Council are being urged to increase their efforts to restore an air service from the airport to Glasgow. At a meeting of Glendee's Municipal District this week, Councillor Noreen McGarvey urged officials to contact the Transport Minister for an update. Councillor McGarvey says a public service obligation is in place and the real challenge is to find an airline to take the route on. She believes there is demand for a renewed service.
We've seen there during the summer months the amount of people that have come to the area again, Scottish people in particular, and they've had to travel by ferry boat. So we will be asking again now too that we try and make some progress on reinstating the Glasgow flight. It'll also obviously help our airport staff-wise and work-wise there. We need to look at something to get it reinstated again for people that are working in Scotland or in England, for students that are over there, and more importantly maybe the football fans that go on a regular basis to Glasgow itself at weekends.
The European Commission President says energy companies making record profits off the back of war is wrong. In her State of the Union address this morning, Ursula von der Leyen discussed the EU's plans to implement a cap on the revenue of companies producing low-cost energy for high prices. Member states will also be asked to reduce their overall energy consumption under the plans. Ursula von der Leyen says people are suffering because of high prices and pledged the EU will take action.
We are proposing a cap on the revenues of companies that produce electricity at low costs. These companies are making revenues they never accounted for, they never even dreamt of. In these times, it is wrong to receive extraordinary record revenues benefiting from war and on the back of our consumers.
Police in Derry are investigating criminal damage caused to a bus parked on Foyle Street this week. Windows on the vehicle were smashed and the garment, sat-nav and items of clothing were stolen from the vehicle at some point between 7 on Monday evening and 8:15 yesterday morning. A 43-year-old man has been arrested in relation with the incident and remains in custody. Police are urging anyone with information, anyone who saw anything suspicious or anyone offered a similar item for sale in suspicious circumstances to make contact. There are calls for the deployment of a permanent traffic warden in Donegal town. Local councillor Tom Conahan says motorists are experiencing significant delays entering and exiting the town due to cars parked on either side of the road. He says a number of issues need to be addressed. And public patients, it's emerged, are waiting 6 times longer than private patients for vital heart testing. According to a report published by CRE in the South University Healthcare Group, the majority of routine waiting times is between 7 and 12 months. With more detail, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
The report published by the Heart and Stroke Charity also found on average public patients can expect to wait between 6 months and a year for an ECG. In Ceuta, one hospital has a routine waiting time of under 6 months, 3 between 7 and 12 months, while 2 have waiting times in excess of 18 months. There is also an internal disparity in waiting times within the region covered by the Ceuta group according to CRE. In terms of urgent care, 4 hospitals in the healthcare group meet the target waiting time of less than 1 month, with 1 between 1 and 3 months. The Ceuta group has the highest proportion of accredited cardiac physiologists at 49%, however it also has one of the largest number of staff who are nearing retirement. The report reveals that 4 echo machines are available for use by hospitals in the region.
For the forecast, it'll be cloudy and misty to start with some patchy drizzle possible. Some bright spells will develop this afternoon, but there is still a chance of a light shower near the coast. Light to moderate northwest winds. Highest temperatures 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. Tonight mostly dry. A mix of cloud and clear spells with light northwest winds. Lowest overnight temperatures 7 to 11. Tomorrow mainly dry. A few light showers. A mix of cloud and some brighter sunny intervals. Top temperatures on Thursday 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. Back with more at 11 o'clock.
The obituary notice says for this Wednesday morning, September the 14th. The death has occurred of James Murray, 284 Ardmacarn, Ballybuffet. Remains reposing at his late residence this afternoon from 2 o'clock. Funeral leaving from there on Friday morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock in the Church of Mary Immaculate Stranorlar. Interment afterwards in Drumbo Cemetery, reposing from 2 until 10 o'clock each day. Family time on the morning of the funeral. Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Bridget Patricia Pat Ward, Eden Infa, Glenties and formerly of Rathfarnham, Dublin. Bridget's Pat's remains are reposing at her late residence. Removal from there tomorrow morning going to the Church of the Holy Family, Eden Infa, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has occurred in Florida of Angela Brennan Nordell, née Sweeney, formerly of Ard Crone House, Meanmore, Dunlow. The funeral mass will take place at the Holy Name of Jesus Catholic Church, Florida, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. The death has taken place of Joe McNulty, 347 Ardbathan, St Johnston, County Donegal. Funeral leaving his late residence this afternoon at 1:15, going to St Bathan's Church, St Johnston, for 2 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time this morning before the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desired to the Irish Heart Foundation, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. The death has taken place of Bridget McDermott, née Peebles, Bradge, Lifford, County Donegal. Funeral leaving her late residence this morning at 10:30, going to St Patrick's Church, Murlock, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Mass can be viewed on clonleeparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desired to the Donegal Hospice, Letterkenny, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. And the death has taken place of Kathleen Neeson, née Guttery, 2 Glenmore Drive, Clady, and formerly of Castlefin. Funeral leaving her home this morning at 10:15 for Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Dunleep, at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via Dunleep Chapel YouTube channel. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Flying soon from Dublin Airport? Use these simple tips to help you bring liquids, gels, pastes and sprays through security. For more, visit dublinairport.com/prepare.
Good to have you back, or very welcome along to the 9 till noon show. We're into the second hour on this Wednesday, the 14th of September. We're going to be speaking about the view that it's important as many people as possible attend a protest in Dublin on the 24th. And also we have Kieran in with Business Matters and the Business News and lots more besides. We've a ton to squeeze in. Right, 8 children not able to get on the bus this morning. I presume they all have tickets. Apparently it's not safe to turn up without a ticket. We'll put our bus on because all of these children have tickets. On the Kilman-Crennan Road, the hedges are out of control. When will they be cut back, even to go out for a walk? The bushes are so grown out, it's hard to find a place to stand in safely. I've noticed that on a couple of routes of my own, actually. Greg, reception here in Condona keeps cutting off every few minutes. That's coming in from Amy. Amy and all of you who contacted us, we really do appreciate your feedback. Unfortunately, there was a technical fault in the transmitter that covers that area. We are working flat out to get that repaired and really hope to get it done over the next day or two. In the meantime, Amy, don't forget you can watch us if you're at home or wherever you are. You can watch us on your phone, tablet, Fire Stick, wherever. We're on YouTube and Facebook, or you can use your smart speaker to listen to us, Amy, because we don't want you to miss a thing. In Irish Water in general, trying to get an answer from them is very difficult. It's not fair or acceptable. You're emailing and phoning in and getting automated replies. 9 times out of 10, that's all you hear. If the politicians can't get answers, how are the public supposed to manage? How can Irish Water go on if they don't have the resources to function? That's a good question. Another, why can the HSE not do the same with an outstanding bonus that was promised to them? It's wasted money. When you even see how a third party is now being called in to get it sorted, you'd imagine this could be done very easily via PPS numbers and a register of doctors and nurses. This is the €1,000 thank you payment that is yet to be received by many. 65 people were sitting in casualty and 10 ambulances with people waiting outside to get in. It was a type of resources. 20 ambulance staff just sitting waiting. They should be slashed. Okay. Hi, I was also in casualty last Wednesday and it was very packed. I got there about 3 o'clock and wasn't seen until 11 that night. I did get home then, and about 1:30 there was a lady being examined beside me, sitting on a chair being asked questions. It was very embarrassing for her. Also, an old lady asked a certain member of staff for a drink of water and she replied, "I'm not a nurse," and more or less walked away. It was a disgrace. A patient got her a drink, and I know she was there as long as me. Don't know what's going on up there. Well, listen, it shouldn't be the case for anyone, but particularly older people being treated like that. Can someone give me an example of the type of questions that are being asked publicly of people? Even it's just for my own information, so I know going forward when I'm asking questions, if maybe it's too sensitive to be read out on air. I'm not on about specific questions about specific people, but just more or less, what kind of questions are people being asked in a public forum? In other words, people sitting around them can hear. If any of you can give me an insight into that, I'd appreciate it. You can text it to 086 60 25,000. My child's dental appointments have been cancelled and have been getting cancelled since February. What will I do, or is there another way I can go about it? Any help or advice for this listener? Dental appointments for their child being cancelled since February. Back to the roads. Millbrae Junction in Stranraer is a free-for-all. I use it every day to go to Letterkenny for work. There's no signage on the road. There are 4 roads coming together. There's no space for signs since the new school opened. It's gotten even worse. I was nearly cleaned off the road today, and if I was, the markings are just too unclear to see who would be at fault. Speaking of roads, I think we were told, were we, that the 4 lanes in Letterkenny were to be completed, or into Letterkenny were to be completed by November. I seem to think that was the timeline. It's mid-September now. I wonder what the hold-up is. I don't know what the hold-up is, even in finishing. There's a section of, on the left as you go out towards Derry, there's a section of footpath and cycle lane that just disappears into hedgerow or into grass. It's going nowhere. What is the situation as it relates to the plans to continue that onto the bridge and to the roundabout? That hasn't been looked at in months. I'm not seeing an awful lot of work in the centre part of the carriageway. I understand workers maybe are working on the footpath and cycle lane on the far side, but nothing happening in the middle. There's going to have to be some amount of work done in the next month and a half or 2 months if that road's going to be finished before the end of this year. To me, it looks like a May or June job, but we'll see. We had a couple of calls on that as well, so we're making inquiries to see if we can find out what's going on there. Right. Because, of course, maybe traffic is moving relatively smoothly with 4 lanes in operation most of the time, but I presume businesses and residents and general road users in that area would be very keen for that project to be finished on time, which we were told, I think, a couple of months back that it would be finished in November. But we'll chase that up to see what the latest information is on that. Can I wish you good luck if you're playing the bingo today? Because here are the numbers.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 14th of September. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S3. It's game number 37. The numbers are 3, 81, 2, 82, 5, 56, 11, 90, 33, and finally 60. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Gear up for the club championship at Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure, where you'll find all the essentials to carry you through the season. Shop the full range of O'Neill's Morn shorts, socks and Sassoon mouthguards, and get the new Michael Murphy Ghost gloves with enhanced grip from just €15. Shop in-store or get free next day nationwide delivery when you spend €85 online at michaelmurphysports.ie.
There's never been a better time to go full Lidl. Let's hear it from our customers.
Like, no matter what they want, there's something in the fridge. We discovered stuff that made our dinner special. They'd go, you didn't buy your meat in Lidl this week, did you buy it somewhere else? Yeah. Whereas now there's no point in me going anywhere else. It's Lidl. That's what they want.
Go on, go full Lidl today.
Enjoy Culture Night in Donegal on Friday, September 23rd. See the full programme of free exhibitions, workshops, performance events, outdoor spectacle, tours, trails and more for all the family. Now on culturenight.ie/Donegal. Presented and funded by Donegal County Council and the Arts Council.
For all your training needs, Northwest Forestry Services Training Department Ballybuffet offer a wide range of courses from training bodies such as NPTC City and Guilds, QQI, LADRA and ABA International. Courses include all land-based services such as chainsaw, tree climbing and rescue, pesticides, working in heights and ATV training. Other courses offered include first aid responder, manual handling and building safety, to name but a few. For a full list of training courses and availability, contact Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet on 074 9132033.
Are you in a low income and worried about an essential expense or bill that you can't afford? The Department of Social Protection is here to help. The additional needs payment is available to support you with important expenses, such as utility bills or other essential household or personal costs. It's available to anyone on a low income who qualifies, no matter how many hours you work or if you're already on a social welfare payment. This support is provided by the Department's Community Welfare Service. To find out more, visit gov.ie/ANP or call 0818 60 70 80. A Government of Ireland initiative.
Okay, last time we were chatting to Micah campaigner, defective block campaigner Paddy Diver. We were talking about a protest that's been scheduled for the 24th of September, and Paddy was very keen to encourage as many people as possible to get down and use this as an opportunity to put pressure on the government as it relates to the defective blocks crisis. Paddy's back on with us now. Paddy, good morning to you. How are you keeping, Paddy? Are you okay?
Yeah, all good, Greg.
Good stuff. All right. So, have your thoughts changed about this protest on the 24th, Paddy, or what's in your mind?
Listen, what's in my mind is, just to be clear, I'm supporting it because I believe in it. But at the same time, I would love to have seen this here turn into like a France thing. But I'm sceptical of that Dublin's reached out to all the haulers, the fishers, the students, you know what I mean, agriculture, everybody to pull them on and to them. I'm just sceptical. I just don't think 10,000 is enough, as you said the last time. But at the same time, if it's only show in town, there's no point in us sitting back, because we know what Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael's been like. We know how we've been treated through the Micah campaign, and not only that, as when you delve into it and you see more about it, you realise how bad the country actually is. Like, they're out there doing slogans of "we can't afford to live," and that's getting to the stage that's the way it is. Prices are rising, but the people need to kind of rise too, being honest. But I see it's not just Dublin now. I see Mayo's doing one the same day, Cork's doing one the same day, and Galway's doing the one the same day. So we're gonna. I think people need to go up and go to Dublin, go somewhere. I'll be in Dublin anyways. But at the same time, it's just a pity that wasn't all in the one, if you know what I mean.
Right. So there's separate protests in different parts of the country. I mean, that's music to the government's ears, or any authorities' ears, because the impact has to be in one place at one time, and it can't be ignored then.
No, exactly. No, you're 100% right. Yeah. It's just a pity. Like the Dublin, they do this coalition last year, and as far as I know, they're just kind of whoever wants to go there, but they're not reaching out and using the media as using the thing, and getting on to Cork and say, listen, come here, let's all join the one, because it's powerful. And whenever you get them all in the one, but at the same time, it is only showing time. There's nothing happening in Donegal, so there's no point in sitting back and just thinking, oh, listen, I can't afford to live, and this energy crisis and housing crisis and immigration crisis and everything's no good. There's no point in complaining, sitting in the house either at the same time.
Yeah. And we recognise that it's a big ask. It's a lot, but I mean, 420,000 people managed to make the time to go and see Garth Brooks, and fair play, don't get me wrong, I'm not in any way criticising that, but if it means enough to us, my word, we can get to Dublin in some numbers.
Definitely should. Like they definitely should. This is every household's struggling. There's no two ways about it. And everybody's hitting Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael at the minute of their hypocritical ways of going, of not supporting the working class and supporting the millionaires and billionaires, and letting. Like, look at the state of, not to be going against multinationals. The Ukrainians deserve to be helped, definitely, no doubt about it. But it's like the government, there's no plan again. They never have a plan. It's all quick fixes. Like, sir, the students have nowhere to stay. They should be out in their numbers. They should be out in their numbers. Sure, there's not a hotel in the country you can get to stay in. We have a government in 2 weeks' time, and sure, they don't even have any plan. Everything you read every day is we might do this, we might do this. It's all in 2 weeks' time. That's just, I think they just need to show the power that, listen, the people sick of this government. There needs to be change, and there needs to be change at the top, and we as people can help change it at the bottom, but we'll not do it from sitting on.
I wonder, Paddy, is part of it the fact that, for right or wrong, by the way, that people are of the opinion that, and we can see the government parties squabbling amongst themselves at the moment as the power is to be handed from Micheál Martin to Leo Varadkar, but we can also see that between them, they've about 36% of the vote, and Sinn Féin on their own have more. Do you think maybe people, and even maybe Micah homeowners now, are just saying, right, we're going to have to stick it out after the next election and see if Sinn Féin will actually deliver on their promises? Do you think people are sort of resigned to that now at this point?
I say that with a heavy heart too. Hey, I'm kind of resigned to that myself, because listen, this our TDs and power have turned it back on the people. The government's turned us back on the people, and Sinn Féin have stood up and promised us more or less that they would look after us. I'm sorry to say, but I've resigned to the fact that I don't know where this campaign's going, as the Micah side, until Sinn Féin, to see if they come on and if they will deliver. And that's the sad reality on it. And
because,
and if that's what,
it's very hard to see. There's a lot of other issues as well. It's just very hard to see, especially with the extra pressure was put on for the last couple of weeks ahead of this new scheme being announced. It's just very hard to see over the lifetime of this particular government anything being done to change this scheme as it's been put out there, Paddy. And it's a bit depressing to say, but even I don't think anyone has any realistic expectations that's going to change. Whatever about maybe, more supports for people through this cost of living and energy crisis.
Yeah, but it's got to a stage. We've just given up on this Fianna Fáil thing again. They don't look after the people, and that's the sad reality about it. I mean, that's all you want as a government, is to look after the people. They're more worried about keeping face with Europe and looking after multinationals than their own people. Like, the cost of living is unbelievable. You're going out for a day's work. You've barely anything to save. And the next thing, if a child has to go to the doctor, you're hauling back one day, it might be all right tomorrow. Like, you shouldn't be living like that in this day and age, 21st century. It's scandalous.
And we talk about this crisis, the energy crisis, cost of living crisis too, Paddy, and I know you've shared videos, and I've myself, of houses whereby it looks like the front door and the back door has been left open and there's a draft blowing through the house, such as the damage done to the house and the amount of sort of wind that's blowing through it. I don't know how anyone could heat that house or have a comfortable house like that over the winter, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them.
There is hundreds and hundreds of them, and that's why it just shows that they don't look after the people. Like, you have a Donegal County Council, you have a maintenance team, you have a government there that's going to turn around and say that, listen, there's people in there for this mega campaign that has, I'm for emergency accommodation. Not one of them ever got emergency accommodation. There's people that's looking for their house is fixed, they don't feel unsafe in it. There's nobody out to help them at all. There's old age pensioners that's in the same boat, and there's not even a maintenance team going around and making these safe for this winter. We were hell bent last winter, and I'll never forget that storm. I put the whole of Donegal, put the hairs in the back of their necks, because they were sure that they were going to waking up to a tragedy. And this government and our councils, like, has let us go into another winter, and it's looking. I can't believe we're going into another winter, and there's no fix. They just don't care. It's heartbreaking to say it, hey. But at the same time, our council would need to step up a bit as well. You know what I mean? Pull them a maintenance team. Pull them people that's either on the dole or back to work schemes or voluntary groups or use the funds that they've got to get a team to go out there, take down a chimney that's ready to come down, make a family safe, close up gaps or something, because those emergency funds that the government save of 5,000. I phoned an engineer the other day and tried to see what way do you get him to get this emergency accommodation. An engineer quoted me 500 for him to write out a building assessment condition. That's a one A4 sheet of paper, four things.
Where people are going to get that money? Like, a lot of people simply can't. That is 300 litres of home heating oil.
Exactly. And you've got
a piece of paper.
You have to pay the 5,000. You have to pay the 5,000 out yourself. There's a lot of people that haven't got it, and that's only putting a sticky plaster over a big wound. Like, you know what I mean? That comes off your grant. So people's trying to hold back and save on that. But like, that's where the council is. I'd love for a council representative to be getting on to a show, the Micah, going on every week and updating the people, because at the minute the doors is closed on us. Like, say they're from Make Action Group. There's like, people expect this. They've closed the doors. The only people that's getting any kind of talks as the council, and we'd need to be updated. You know, the only thing I know at the minute is Sentinel Russian Gallagher there, and since this year started, all we wanted was somewhere, and that's only somewhere to go on with your forms and get help and all the rest. Well, Russian Gallagher's been on there trying to get a hub organised and get funding. That's still not up and running. And then you've got Anne Owens, she was looking for the facilitators. Listen, we've all been looking for people to lighten the load of the pressure and the stress of going on with somebody. I think there's a wee bit of movement into that. I think they've taken a lot of stuff off Russian Gallagher's and put it onto facilitators and more or less done a cheap outcome. Let a lot of stuff go. Russian will probably go on Highland Radio and let that know at some stage. But I think that's not too far away from an office. But like, we've no what good's an office when we've no rollout plan? There's nothing. I think everybody's sitting back now waiting on the NSSI. You know what I mean? They're waiting on that to see what's the foundations. Nobody's going to go through this here. There's 400 applications still stuck, and there's no urgency. I really think that the council really need to come on and show where they're putting on the pressure or what's happening.
I know what you're saying. So, Paddy, what's the takeaway then from for I know you don't want to discourage anyone to go to this protest on the 24th, but at the same time, you know, and you've been involved in the organisation of an incredibly successful protest. At the same time, you don't sound like you've got a lot of confidence in it, Paddy. So what's the part of message then to people? I mean, I think you know well enough now at this stage, no matter what the likes of you say, no matter how you rally people, that maybe there's not going to be a huge turnout on the 24th. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what do you want to say finally?
Finally, I don't know. Just there's no point in us worrying and thinking there's going to be less and less people there, and it's not going to be a big thing, and it should all be the one and all the rest, and just sitting in the house and saying nothing. I still think you should go. I'm going. We've no other option. You know what I mean? It is. They are the only show in town. We have to show that the government bring up your signs, bring your banners. I still think we should go. No matter, I am sceptical of it, the way it's been run, and why it's not all in the one country. But we don't get everything you want. Maybe if whenever the papers come out and they show on page 3, there's it in Cork, there's it in Dublin, there's it in Mayo. Like that it can have an effect, but it'll have no effect sitting in the house. Typing on and saying, "Oh, I hate this government. Everything's crap." You might as well, if it's only effort you can make, you might as well get up and try.
Get out and do it if you can. And also, too, you know what? Who's to say that the strongest message coming out of it could be the Micah message? You know what I mean? Dependent on the crowd, if enough people go to it. All right, Paddy. Listen, thanks for that. I appreciate your time as always. All right.
All right, no bother.
Right, bye, Paddy. That's Paddy Diver there. What do you think? 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and text to that number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. A caller says, you have to cut out everything that's unnecessary. I made sure I kept a roof over my head first. 4 years ago, I was on my knees. I worked 4 jobs. I cut off everything that wasn't necessary. Now I'm back to a sustainable lifestyle that I can now have the likes of Netflix or go out for a drink. Hard work on the government will get us out of this national debt. They just have to do it, believes that caller. All right, back with more in a moment. Let's just take a quick break.
Cutting through the spin. The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Foley's Bakery.
In changing times, you need the right support to take the next step in building your business.
Foley's Cafe.
At Bank of Ireland, we're here to support the financial well-being of your business as it grows, with faster, easier loan applications and dedicated business teams when you need them.
Hello, Foley's Coffee Roasters.
Search Bank of Ireland Business. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Tune in this Thursday for all the latest farming news and views straight after the 5 p.m. news. Brought to you in association with Lifford Credit Union, who have recently launched Cultivate, an agricultural loan at only 6.55%, APR 6.75%. Call into any of their 3 offices for more information or to make an appointment. Lifford Credit Union. Rafo Newton Lifford. Supporting local farmers.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor now offers a wide range of skin boosters. The injectable moisturiser for under eyes that improves dark circles, fine lines and wrinkles. Also treating the face, neck, chest and hands. This amazing treatment works from the inside out, resulting in brighter, smoother, plumper skin. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. You can download the Genesis app or call 07495 32575.
In Ireland, we love our sport. But whatever the game, there are things we'd all love to change.
I'd make the pitch smaller.
But if you're a person from a disadvantaged or underrepresented group, changing the game can mean something very different.
I want to be judged on my performance, not on who I am.
Sport Ireland is working to make everyone feel more included. Find out how we're changing the game at sportireland.ie/sport for all.
Right now, the worst drought in decades is starving people across Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia. This is a crisis of horrific scale, but together we can save lives. 7 Irish aid agencies have joined forces and are appealing urgently for help to provide life-saving food, water and healthcare. Please visit irishemergencyalliance.org and click donate or free phone 1800 939 979. Thank you.
Okay, some of your comments here. We were talking about the emergency department at the local hospital there. A caller says, I was in the ED last year and heard everything the person in the next bed was telling the doctor. Their age, their problem, what medication they were taking, and to make matters worse, I knew them. No privacy at all. Another, when I was in ED, I heard a woman who was in the woman's refuge trying to say quietly what her address was while the receptionist shouted, speak up, I can't hear you, to which she did, but you could tell an already broken woman was deeply hurt. That's would feel like, and I'm not saying it was intentional by the person asking the questions, that would just feel like abuse again. Hi Greg, I'm a foster mum. It's very difficult taking one of the children I have in care to the ED because everyone sitting there is listening to their details. It's very embarrassing for the young person. We need more privacy there. Thanks, Greg. And I think there's a lot of problems that can't be fixed really in the short term, but I think this is one that possibly could, and it tarnishes a lot of people's experiences, and I think that with a few little things being put in place that maybe if the management took this up as an issue, they could get it resolved really quite quickly. Caller says, would it not make sense to have a nurse on the ED to tend to people who are distressed while waiting? Offering reassurance would be a massive help to those who are vulnerable and alone in the waiting room. Okay, yeah, indeed. Keep them coming into us. Right, okay, we're going to take a piece of music now. Happy birthday to our Auntie Ailish McGettigan on her 70th birthday today. Hope you have a great day. This comes in from Evelyn and Michael. And for Hazel Key, she's flat out baking this morning for her annual hospice coffee morning. Forget all the doom and gloom and enjoy a cup of coffee for a worthy cause, from her old friend Olive in Sligo. And Olive, you're right, you know. We do sometimes, as much as we can, and it's not easy for everyone, to disengage from the negativity. There is an awful lot of negativity out there, but there's also an awful lot of positivity. Like, for example, if you have your health, or if you have managed just to, get your bills paid, or if you've got some good news about someone in your family or something, we have to find out where the good news is at and focus on that as well, and switch off the news now and again, or get off the social media if it's constantly talking about the same stuff over and over again, because what happens is social media eventually will start, pushing stuff to you, especially stuff that can be monetized, and a lot of negativity, there's money in it as well. So we have to look after our well-being and give ourselves a break. And you know what? Attending Hazel Key's annual hospice coffee morning. If you give us the details as to where it's at, Olive, if you're head of her PR, you need to up your game. Where is Hazel's annual hospice coffee morning so we can direct people in that direction? All right, back in a couple of minutes.
Each other's eyes, but that ain't me. No, that ain't me. We could tell each other lies, put on a good disguise, and when the party's over, disappear into the night. But that ain't me. No, that ain't me. 'Cause I'm a girl with good intentions, make my moves at my discretion. When I lay my head down and not my conscience can sleep tight. Like a give the guy my number because he caught my eye. Let him take me out for dinner, somewhere fancy, lots of style. But that ain't me. No, that ain't me. I can let him pay for dinner, the drinks and taxi home. When he drops me off, flutter my eyes and say, come on. But that ain't me. No, that ain't me. 'Cause I'm a girl with good intentions, make my moves at my discretion. When I lay my head down and not my conscience can sleep tight.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. 086 60 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and text line, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. You are tuned to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. Okay, delighted to welcome on to the programme this morning Adrian Weckler, technology editor with the Irish and Sunday Independent. Good morning to you, Adrian. How are you keeping?
Very well. Good morning.
It's good to have you here on the show. Right, there seems to be some growing calls in the United States and elsewhere, in Britain as well, some in Ireland, that believe that TikTok should be banned. Now, it seems to be going a bit far without talking about maybe the service and how it could be refined. I mean, have you heard these calls, and what do you think the sort of background to them are?
Oh, absolutely. So just a couple of days ago, the CEO of one of the biggest European newspaper and media groups, Axel Springer, called for it to be banned. In India, it has been banned because of fears over Chinese influence or surveillance in that country. India can be a very, very volatile country when it comes to election time in particular. And in the US, there are growing calls in government circles. We know that the last president, President Trump, said that he would ban it. Obviously, he didn't win the election, so that eased off a little bit. But there have been a few reports in the last few weeks and months uncovering the ability of TikTok to do things like, for example, monitor your keystrokes. There were other reports suggesting that the data of TikTok users here in Ireland and everywhere else do actually make their way back to China. And we know that the Irish Data Protection Commissioner currently has an investigation into TikTok for exactly that reason. In other words, whether what you and I are doing and watching and using and posting is actually going back and being assessed and analysed in China.
To what end, I wonder, because we know, Adrian, and we've talked about this in the past, I mean, if something is free, we're the product, really. What might the Chinese be trying to harvest from TikTok, and to what end?
Two things goes the allegation. One, to get more of an idea of what individuals are doing, what they like, potentially influential individuals. Don't forget, TikTok is now the fastest growing social network in Ireland. By a long shot, it's the most used social platform among kids. I mean, I think the latest figures are that 70% of 8 to 12-year-olds in Ireland use TikTok.
Wow.
70% of 8 to 12-year-olds.
And there is some stuff on TikTok. That's unbelievable. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but the other suggestion is that because TikTok is so influential in creating culture, it is the new Facebook, it is the new Instagram, that it can be nudged and manipulated at election time to try and manipulate public opinion. Now, remember with Cambridge Analytica and Facebook, that was the allegation at the time, that Facebook was being gamed to help, promote one candidate over the other in the US election. But at least we know with Mark Zuckerberg that really what he's mainly interested in is power and money. He's not so much interested in subverting democracy. And that's the allegation here with TikTok, that TikTok can be used as a tool of the Chinese state to fundamentally weaken its democratic enemies, but try to stir things up, try and get us all mad at each other in a way that Facebook has only started to do.
And do you believe that that's happening now, or would the tactic be to build a really strong, powerful user base and then start to exercise influence? Like, do you believe at the moment that platform is being used to try and adjust public opinion?
I actually don't know is the honest answer, because I am aware that sometimes we go through waves of moral panic. We certainly did with Facebook. We certainly have with the internet in general. We certainly have with video games. And we do go through waves of moral panic about these things. And I'm trying to figure out how much of this is kind of a moral panic. Oh my God, look what the kids are using the internet again, versus no, this is actually a fundamentally different thing, because here you have a network which it's not state owned, it's a private company, but it is openly, potentially openly manipulated by a particular country that we know is not above trying to get involved and manipulate other countries. So I don't know. Look, let's start with the premise that let's assume that the US, the Brits, Israelis, French, Chinese, Russians, and a few other states, let's assume that they all have covert parts, covert wings that try to influence and spy and surveil. We'll just assume that, okay? Because we do assume that with the likes of Facebook and Google. We assume that the Americans have our email and have our social messages. I do anyway, and I'm working in the tech for 15, 20 years. It is logical to assume that the Chinese would have the same interest.
And it's a weapon. It's an incredibly powerful weapon. We've seen, maybe rather clumsily, but effectively, how the Russians have tried to interfere in elections. I have never seen, if it's the correct phraseology, an algorithm like that which TikTok uses. And I've done some experiments with this at home out of curiosity with a few people, whereby you create a new TikTok account and you begin to like incredibly specific things about certain videos, and it feeds you that stuff. It feeds you stuff you feel that you like, and it will change with you. If your likes change, TikTok will change. It's not as blunt an instrument as the likes of Facebook. So if it's capable of that, what else might it be capable of? And it is hugely, hugely influential. I mean, there are an awful lot of young lads walking around now with the exact same views of Andrew Tate, for an example. Right. It really, really has an incredible ability to change how people think and how they think of certain groups of people. So if we're seeing that already in terms of sort of maybe misogynistic standpoints or viewpoints, who's to say where that could go at the time of an election, or changing opinion towards Russia and China, for example?
Right. And the point here is that TikTok is much more heavily moderated than Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Like, we all talk about how, Facebook and Instagram, there needs to be more moderation there, but they need to cut out this, that, and the other. TikTok started on that basis, which means that what you see is much more carefully planned and moderated than what you see on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat or any of the others. Now, if you take that as a starting point, then to your point, what you end up seeing, what influences your political views, is much more closely aligned with what TikTok has control over than Facebook. Or for all the moaning we do about Facebook, one of the problems with Facebook is it's a free-for-all, and it has been a free-for-all with not enough control as we have thought up to now. TikTok has the opposite problem. It is very tightly controlled. Now, the good side of that is you're much less likely to see things like harmful pornography or very, very, very upsetting, violent videos. You're much less likely to see that, but you're also much less likely to see criticism of China. You're also less likely to see, things that we would take for granted at the edges of an open and free internet. And that's where this fear of controlling what we think in advance of elections, cultural attitudes, whether it's Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson or anyone else.
There was a period of time, and I can't remember how it aligns with what was happening politically, but it was flooded. TikTok was flooded with videos of Joe Biden stumbling and stuttering, absolutely flooded with them. Was that an accident? Was that a coincidence? You don't see the same criticism of the likes of Russia or China. And I think it's quite interesting, really, that I would throw Russia in that as well. Do you know what I mean? There's not much anti-Russian sentiment on TikTok. And I think it's the subtleness of it, you see. Facebook looks so, as I said earlier, looks so blunt now, because it suggests a page and you go, Facebook, come here, are you serious? They've tried the reels. They're a mess. They don't know what they're doing. They just feed you with Irish comedians thinking you're Irish and you're under 50, so you must think that's hilarious. And when you see how TikTok are doing it, you can see what potentially they could be capable of. And it's not in your face stuff. I think it's how it will form people's opinions, because it can trickle stuff to accounts.
Yeah, and this is the all-powerful algorithm that is at the heart of this with TikTok. And transparency over this algorithm, how it works, what the impulses are in terms of what to prioritize or deprioritize, are still kind of shrouded in mystery. I've asked the company, which, by the way, has a very, very large base in Ireland's capital, in Dublin, 2,000 people, expanding to 3,000 people this year, with a giant data center set to come online next year, which will host most European TikTok users' data. But I've asked the company to explain it a little bit more clearly, and they just won't do it. And that's part of what the Irish Data Protection Commissioner is investigating officially into TikTok. She is trying to find out a little bit more about, the reasons and the ways and means in which it tries to show us what it shows us, and also the provenance of where the data goes and how it's treated.
Okay, Adrian, but obviously we're talking now, and I'm not saying this is what you're saying, but other people might say, we're talking about the big scary Chinese who are the bad guys. Yeah. And by default, if we live in the West, China is bad, Russia is bad, okay? But, I am sure there are, you've seen, say, for instance, a lot of different points of view, maybe even pro-Russian points of view, being eliminated from the likes of Twitter and Facebook. So is this the route we want to go down? Should we not be educating ourselves and trying to, think more individually rather than an info wars, effectively, where one space is for one particular point of view and another space is for another? Because, as I say, if I were a Russian sympathizer, I'd look at Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and go, well, hold on, you're doing exactly what we're debating, talking about doing to TikTok, for example.
Absolutely. You've hit on the core tension on all social media networks, on the internet, on all media. I mean, this is an accusation that's levied at the BBC and RTE as much as it is at TikTok. So where is the balance of your editorial control? What do you let in? What do you not let in? How much speech do you allow? How much dissenting speech? Where does that cross the line into dangerous dissenting speech? I'm old enough to remember in the North when we had, what was it, Section 31? Is that what it was called? When you couldn't hear Sinn Féin because it was deemed to be dangerous speech, right? Now that was controversial at the time. You could see both sides of it. I would argue, if you were being truly stepping back and looking at you could see how this is a disgrace because you're suppressing free speech. On the other hand, we are in a situation where there's a lot of dangerous things happening. And that is the tension that exists here. How much should you be allowed access to? And what does it lead to? You're talking about Andrew Tate, teenage boys walking around listening to Andrew Tate. Is it their right to listen to Andrew Tate's been kicked off most of the social networks now. Is that a suppression of their right to access free speech? Or is that sensible moderation to try and stem dangerous behavior emerging from that? That's the core tension that we have.
Yeah, and that's on a global level, but I think we're going to be having these conversations on a national level, and we already are. But we've seen what's happening in Sweden, for example, in terms of the political swing there. We've seen what's happening in the United States, and to a lesser extent here, but certainly in some continental European countries. It's not going to be necessarily the West versus China, Russia and their friends. We're going to be having problems about censorship and free speech or freedom of speech on particular platforms within a country in the very near future, within 10 years, I suspect, if not sooner in some countries, Adrian. That's going to be, I don't know how we're going to figure all that out.
Well, we're seeing the first signs of the last few years of the fallout from that. People are getting much, much angrier at each other. People, above all, they're suspecting bad faith or bad motives in their opponents, something which wasn't quite as rife before as it is now. So if I disagree with you on something, it's not just that I disagree with you on the issue. I now suspect that you're either bought by some interest or that you have a kind of an evil or a backward originating intent for your view. And social media networks, unfortunately, do amplify that because you're coalescing with your fellow believers in your issue, and it gets more and more extreme more quickly. And how is that moderated? And that, again, is going back to the core tension of what all this is about. But coming back to the TikTok issue, it's all of those things we've talked about, but it's also the addition of a state actor which appears sometimes to want to manipulate opinion in Western countries for its own ends. And that's really why the TikTok issue over whether we should take action over TikTok has become an issue in itself.
Yeah, it's a minefield, and there's going to be so much to say and write about this in the future, I'm sure. Adrian, thanks so much for your time as always. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, take care. That's Adrian Weckler there, who's technology editor with Irish and Sunday Independent. So, I think when people are talking about banning TikTok, they're talking about... It's complicated, isn't it? Because there is this theory that the Chinese are harvesting data and that they will use this platform to influence people's opinions. And then someone says TikTok should not be banned. It's a great source of information and everyone needs to learn how to use the internet properly. But the concern is that the apps like TikTok going forward are so sophisticated that they will try and influence the path of democracy in a certain direction, and maybe you won't even fully realize it. You'll find yourself thinking your views are more moderate on certain issues, or more hardline. There comes a point where you might start changing your mind, and how much that might be influenced, even subconsciously almost, by the likes of TikTok. Like, I see people, and I know people who were, I think I'm pretty in the middle, if you know what I mean. I can appreciate people's different points of views and what have you. But over the last, pre-COVID, nothing to do with COVID, forget that. Over the last, since then, you can see them sharing different types of content, maybe more misogynistic content, maybe more nationalist content, whatever it might be. I'm not saying those things are overlapped, don't get me wrong, but you can see how people can change. And you see that change on social media where you wouldn't see it necessarily in real life. So I have no doubt that these companies, but I also have no doubt that the likes of Facebook and Twitter and others are also trying to influence people, perhaps though more Western thinking. Do you know what I mean? And I was quick to make that point to Adrian, as I say, we always presume that the Chinese are the bad guys, and all of Russia, every Russian person is a bad person because of the decision that Vladimir Putin has taken. But the people of Russia are only exposed to anti-West information. They're banned from using anything that would talk of, say, for instance, the Ukraine war in an anti-Russian way. So every nation is at it in their own way, and I don't know how it all gets sorted out in the end.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
At Lloyd's Pharmacy this winter, we know how to help give your family big protection against the cold and flu, and make big savings with our amazing buy one get one half price offer on selected vitamins and supplements. Shop and save online, in store, or using our app. Lloyd's Pharmacy. Say hello to the people that know. Terms and conditions apply.
To get that job done, call Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny. Generators, portaloos and lighting towers. Also diggers, dumpers, rollers and much more. With short-term, long-term and weekend special rates available. Call Gortley Sales and Hire on 91 26 276.
If you're aged 50 to 64, it's time to boost your protection from COVID-19. Your protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you from serious illness in the months ahead. Book an appointment at a HSE vaccination centre on hse.ie. Call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy from the HSE. For us all.
An important timetable update from TFI Local Link Donegal Sligo Leitrim, route 953 Moville to Letterkenny. Great news from Monday, September 19th. TFI Local Link route 953 Moville to Letterkenny will be extended to Greencastle and will now service locations including Kildaff, Glenealy, Greencastle and Bridgend. Operating up to 3 times per day, 7 days a week. The enhanced route will now provide a new peak time service for students and commuters into Letterkenny, arriving for both 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and returning at 5 p.m, as well as improved connectivity to regional bus services for onward travel. For timetables, fares and all route information, see locallinkdsl.ie or call our office on 074 9741 644. TFI Local Link, part of the Transport for Ireland network.
Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm planning on studying construction management in ATU Donegal this September.
I'm Shannon, and I studied business.
If you want to follow in our footsteps and study in ATU Donegal, check out Available Places, which is now open on the CAO website.
It's not too late to choose ATU Donegal. The future is here. For more information, visit lyit.ie.
Okay, you're welcome back. All right, a caller, this came into me here. Can you ask Adrian a different subject? Do the banks have the technology to know that, say, if you bought a tractor and borrowed against it and you get into debt, that they can remotely switch it off until you pay the money owed on it? Well, they don't have the technology. And they wouldn't be allowed to do that either. Are you talking from experience? It's something, do you suspect that may have happened? And another caller says, Irish mainstream media, including yourselves, were bought and paid for during the lockdown. No other opinion were tolerated, and we see where that got us. To be honest, you cannot talk. Okay, whatever. That's okay. That's your opinion, and I respect it. Though I don't agree with it. Okay, it is the 9 till noon show. We have a busy hour on the way. Stay right where you are. Let's get a news update. Say good morning now to Michaela Clark. Hi, Michaela.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The father of a missing Buncrana man is appealing to people to check their outhouses and for business owners to review CCTV footage. 26-year-old Bernard McConway was last seen yesterday afternoon. He's described as being approximately 5 foot 10 inches in height, with a medium build, light brown hair and blue eyes, and is believed to have been wearing a white t-shirt and navy trousers. Gardaí and Bernard's family are concerned for his welfare. The government has turned its back on MIGA-affected homeowners. That's according to campaigner Paddy Diver, who is encouraging people to travel to Dublin for the cost of living protest on September the 24th. He says he has resigned himself to the fact that an acceptable redress scheme will not be delivered until there is a change of government. In the interim, he says people face another gruelling winter in homes affected by defective blocks. Dynamo is warning a winter chaos is on the way as the number of people waiting on trolleys in Irish hospitals continues to rise. The latest Trolley Watch figures have shown that 596 patients were without a bed this morning, 47 of them at Letterkenny University Hospital. INMO General Secretary Phil Nehay says we are sleepwalking into another winter crisis unless action is taken. People will be asked to reduce their electricity consumption during peak hours under new EU measures. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says sanctions on Russia will remain as a price for Putin's death and destruction. 2 people have been arrested by police in Derry after a van stolen in Ballycastle on Monday night was found on fire at Culmore Point. At around 8 a.m. yesterday, police were alerted that a white Citroen van stolen in Ballycastle after 11 p.m. on Monday night was sighted on Letterkenny Road in the city, heading towards Donegal. Donegal County Council is being urged to increase its efforts to restore an air service from Donegal Airport to Glasgow. At a meeting of the Glenties Municipal District this week, Councillor Nori McGarvey called on officials to contact the Transport Minister for an update. She says a public service obligation is in place and the real challenge is to find an airline to take on the route. And Irish Water has reiterated that they are working to lift the boil water notice in Lettermacca Ward as soon as possible. Work is ongoing at the water treatment plant to service the clarification unit and replace filter media. The work is expected to continue throughout this month. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Thank you, Michaela, and we'll be back with Wellness Wednesday, focusing on Heart Valve Disease Awareness Week after these messages.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Sigur Mahatsa Colin Ferreter and Shaw Biggie Lindy Hikadin Yasharka Gia Huck their Aves Bana Peabody Letterkenny Pipe Band August Uder Ahanta Francis McAwards Bios Studio Lum and Shaw Highland Radio Sharka Gia Art
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, we are now operating out of one new state-of-the-art showroom in Donegal Town. And we invite you to visit our new 5,000 square foot Donegal Town showroom to discover the latest eye-catching designs. Remember, at Cherrymore, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer, which means high-quality kitchens at factory prices. Start planning your dream kitchen or bedroom by calling Cherrymore on 074 9725 822. Cherrymore, 25 years delivering value, quality and service all over Ireland.
Since she got her free hearing aids with her PRSI at Specsavers, Roisin is a changed woman. Music has never sounded better, and that makes her dance. And dance. And dance. Her singing, though, well...
Free hearing aids with PRSI at Specsavers. Music to your ears. Find out more online. Terms and conditions apply.
Green Shoes in Letterkenny and Fulcara have shoes for every occasion. All your favourite brands, from Una Healy, Tommy Bow and Echo, to Kate Appleby, Marcosi and Skechers, plus many more. Shop LK and One for All gift cards are gratefully accepted in store. Green Shoes in Letterkenny at Market Square and Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Fulcara, and online at greenshoes.com. Green Shoes, with the perfect fit for every foot.
SafeTech are running a number of accredited programs this autumn, including basic scaffolding, electro and butt fusion welding, roadworks, plant and machinery, confined spaces, water hygiene for utilities, UK construction cards and more. Funding available on all these programs. T's and C's apply. For all your safety and training needs, visit safetech.ie.
Crawford Tiles Castlefin. Bathroom yard sale starts Thursday the 15th to Saturday the 17th of September. Be quick or you'll miss out on bargains galore. Toilets, vanity units, wet room screens, shower cubicles and more. In-store 15% off all bathware. Remember, 3 days only. Miss it, miss out. Telephone 91 43942.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and our focus now is Wellness Wednesday, and we are marking Heart Valve Disease Awareness Week, which began on the 12th of September and runs to the 18th of September. We're joined on the programme now by Mr. Ronan Kelly. Good morning, Ronan.
Good morning.
Now, what's your area of speciality as a surgeon? It's cardiothoracic, is it?
Cardiothoracic. So I'm a heart based in Galway. So I'm with a team of 3 heart surgeons in Galway.
Yes.
And this month is heart disease awareness month, and this particular week is heart valve awareness week.
Right. Okay. Unfortunately, Doctor, your phone line, Mr. Kelly, your phone line is absolutely awful. Would you mind hanging up and we'll call you back and try and get a better line if that's okay?
No.
Thank you so much. We'll get Mr. Ronan Kelly back on a clear line there. We're also joined by Sandra McGonigal, who is a heart valve surgical patient and is with us on Zoom. Good morning to you, Sandra. How are you keeping now?
Good morning, Greg. Very well, thank you.
Right, okay. So you recently underwent heart valve replacement surgery, but how was the problem discovered, Sandra?
In December 2019, I had a little bit of chest discomfort, so I was concerned and went to the GP. The GP did a stethoscope check and heard a murmur, which hadn't been there before. So based on that, she referred me for an echo over to a local hospital. I had the echo some weeks later and was diagnosed with a bicuspid aortic valve. It's a congenital abnormality that I had had since birth but wasn't aware of. And that unfortunately had started to become stenosed. So it wasn't working as well as it should be. And hence the murmur, that they heard the murmur.
All right, and you had your heart checked previously, had you? So this is, albeit something you were perhaps always going to get, it only came on as you got a little bit older. Had you had your heart checked previously?
No, I hadn't. When I discovered that I had a bicuspid valve in early 2020, that was the first I knew of it. I had it from birth, but I wasn't aware of it until the heart murmur.
Right, okay. And what did the surgery entail? And was it a choice? Were you given a choice, Sandra? Did they say to you, right, well, you can carry on as such and this might happen? Or how was it framed to you? Were you told you had to have it done?
When I was diagnosed in early 2020 with the bicuspid valve, I was informed that I would be facing surgery in the future. Quite so soon into the future, I didn't realise, but I think what happened was the valve deteriorated quite quickly. The stenosis became more severe. I was having symptoms at the time. I was short of breath on exertion. I was dizzy, having dizzy spells at time. I was particularly tired. But I put these symptoms down to just a busy, chaotic life at home, at work, and just getting a little bit older and maybe carrying a little bit too much weight. So I didn't really recognise the symptoms. Because they had discovered the stenosis of the valve, they were keeping a close eye on me. So when I went back in November 2020 for a repeat echo, it was then that it was discovered that it had deteriorated and that I would need surgery. So a plan was put in place then for me to be placed on the waiting list for surgery.
All right, and we'll come back to that story, but Mr. Ronan Kelly is back with us again. Ronan, good morning to you, and thanks again. Hopefully we can hear you a little bit better now.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Right, you were going to talk to us about, from your perspective, the expert's perspective, as heart valve disease awareness, which is part of the. This is the focus of this particular week.
The focus of this particular week, and I'm talking on behalf of CRE, which is our charity that covers heart and stroke for the West and Northwest. And heart valve disease, what we're trying to get across is the importance of stethoscope check as the first way of finding out if someone has heart disease. Heart valve disease.
Unfortunately, Ronan, that line just is not good enough. Our listeners won't be able to hear you, Ronan. And I'm sorry about that. I'll tell you again. We'll get the production team to get back in touch with you to see if that can be improved. It's not a problem we have very often, but heart valve disease is common. And it's serious, but it is treatable. Statistics show that 1 in 8 people, 13%, over the age of 75 have thought to suffer from moderate to severe heart valve disease, which can lead to premature death if left untreated and if it's not found. Now, Sandra, you are well below that age threshold, and you had symptoms you didn't ignore, and that's how it was picked up for you. How big a surgery is it? Is it an open heart surgery or keyhole?
It is. It's an open heart surgery, so I guess yes, it is big surgery. But for me, I suppose the message is that it is about that kind of early detection. And once these things are picked up early, it's a little bit easier maybe to manage rather than a crisis situation. I found the surgery, I don't want to use the word okay, but it was all right. It was doable. I got through it. I managed. I was 45 at the time, so yes, relatively young. But no, I found the experience relatively positive.
And do they replace the valve? Do they operate on the valve? It might be different from one case to the other, but in your case, what was done to your heart?
Yeah, I my understanding is it is different from case to case, but yes, they replaced my valve. So my valve had really deteriorated and wasn't working well, so they replaced that valve.
What can I ask, Sandra? What did they replace it with?
It's I have a biological valve, so there's different types of valves. Now, Mr. Kelly will be able to go into
If we could just get him
detail.
on the phone, Sandra.
But yeah, I have a biological valve.
Yes.
And so far, 18 months later, it's working very well, and we're very pleased with with how it's progressing.
So after you recovered from your surgery, then the symptoms that you were putting down to maybe tiredness, overexertion, the usual stuff. Maybe I need to drink more water. After your surgery and after you recovered from the surgery, could you notice a difference in you then straight away?
Oh, definitely, yeah. After a period of rehabilitation, I definitely noticed that my energy levels were back up. I was able to go for a walk without becoming overly exerted or without becoming dizzy. So definitely it has changed my life. My quality of life now is far greater than it was prior to the surgery.
Brilliant. And if it had not have been spotted, would it lead to heart failure, heart attack?
My understanding is that yes, it could. I think I was very fortunate that I did go to GP when I did, that I did have that stethoscope check, and then that kind of instigated the echo and all the various tests then afterwards. My understanding, if left undetected, it is, as you referred to earlier, it is serious, but it is treatable.
Yes, and I think what's interesting in the point I think that Mr. Ronan Kelly was going to make quite clearly is that this can, in many cases, be picked up with a stethoscope check, which is not intrusive. Do you know what I mean? And what they're advising, what CRE is advising, that people of all ages, but certainly those over 65, ask their doctor for an annual stethoscope test, because that was how it was initially picked up with you, and then the GP said, right, we might need to investigate this a little further then.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the key messages, if in doubt with any kind of chest symptoms, I suppose, or, chest discomfort, shortness of breath, dizzy spells, kind of tiredness or fatigue that, you wouldn't be expected in relation to your age. I guess the message is really to have that stethoscope check. It's a very simple check. It doesn't take long. It's like, as you said, it's not intrusive. GPs are well experienced in carrying out stethoscope checks. So I think the message is for anybody having any kind of experience like that, to have the stethoscope check, but definitely, as you referred to, the over 65s, maybe to have a yearly stethoscope check.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, it seems quite simple. And you feel now, do you, that you've a new lease of life, Sandra?
Oh, definitely. Prior to my surgery, it's funny, it's only on reflection when you come out the other side that you realise how difficult it was. But I had an excuse at every stage. Oh, I'm doing too much, or life's busy, or I'm getting older. And really at 45, I probably shouldn't have been experiencing that level of symptoms without something being wrong, if you know. But it's a learning curve for us all.
Of course, and that's why we invite people like you on, or people like you are suggested to us, Sandra, because it's so important, because it's real. You're a normal person. You were feeling how you were feeling, and you were doing what we might all do and put it down to something else or whatever. And some people wouldn't even consider it being a bad thing. Others might fear it is, but just ignore it. We're all incredibly different, but what you're doing today is for people of all ages, but particularly maybe people who are in their 30s or 40s. If you have some of the symptoms that you had, get along to your GP and get a stethoscope check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. I think we're going to try one more time with Dr. Ronan Kelly. I'm sorry, Mr. Ronan Kelly. I'm so sorry about this, Ronan. Good morning to you one more time.
No problem. Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes. Okay. So you were going to talk to us, and we've been teasing this out quite a bit with Sandra.
Yes, I was listening to it. I could hear it.
Okay, lovely. The importance of getting yourself checked.
Yes, exactly. It's about the importance of the stethoscope check as the first sign of heart valve disease. Even from what was described there about with the patient that you were talking with, the symptoms can be quite vague. It's about tiredness, breathlessness, just not feeling right in yourself is often the first way this can present with heart valve disease. And it's a very simple check to go to your GP and to have a stethoscope check. And if anything is found there at that, the next step is to have it looked at using an ultrasound of the heart, which is a safe and non-invasive test where they put a probe on your chest, and it gives a picture of all four heart valves and how they're functioning along with the heart, and they can see very clearly if there's any abnormalities or any issues that may be the cause of the symptoms somebody gets. We have four heart valves. They open and close every time our heart beats, 60 to 100 times a minute, every minute of our life, which is quite a phenomenal feat. Like you mentioned, we expect about 1 in 8 people over the age of 75 to begin to have some trouble with their valves, and that's just through the wear and tear of opening so regularly. It is, however, phenomenal that for the vast majority of people, their valves will open and close like this every moment of their life without any trouble at all.
Mm-hmm.
But for a small amount of people, they can run into some issue, and it's about catching it at the earliest stage. Because oftentimes the treatment, when it's caught at the earliest stage, is very simple. It can often be just medication. And then for a small subset, they'll have to meet someone like me as a surgeon to have something done to their valve, like your patient that you were speaking with, to have it repaired or replaced.
Yeah, of interest.
But that's a very small subset.
In terms of replacement, Sandra mentioned a biological replacement. Are there biological and mechanical replacements? Where might a biological replacement come from, or what are the options there? I know it's a small amount of people, Ronan, and perhaps not what you wish to focus on, but I think it might be very interesting to see where we're at from a medical standpoint.
From a medical standpoint, the biological valves use animal tissue. It's not an animal's valve put in, but some of the tissue from an animal's heart is reconstructed to look very much like a human heart valve, and that's what we'd replace it with. And there's loads of pros and cons between that and the mechanical valves. But primarily the mechanical valves last a lot longer. The biological valves do have a life expectancy, and then sometimes people who develop heart valve disease younger in life can expect to have a number of interventions. But this is a very, very small subset of people.
Mm-hmm.
What we're really focusing on is more the elderly person as they reach their kind of older years that are beginning to slow down, and just to investigate, is their slowing down or their breathlessness something that's very treatable. Some people slow down just as in age, but other people, there's something that we can fix and get them back to normal good health and get them back to their normal life expectancy, because when it's found early, the heart is at its healthiest and happiest, and the person's at their healthiest, which makes all the treatment significantly easier to recover from and then they can get back to enjoying life.
Yes, and there are people in the category that you talk of that might be visiting their GP this week. You'd suggest to them that if they hadn't had a stethoscope test this year, to ask the GP to do one for them.
Absolutely. It takes only a few moments, and like I said, in the vast majority of people, they'll find nothing. But in those that we do find something, the next step is to get out and have an investigation, which again is non-invasive, which tells us a little bit more, and then we can see. But trying to emphasise that it's not something to be worried about. If someone finds a problem, there's a whole team here between the hospital in Letterkenny and then the heart surgery unit down in Galway to look after people if there's something there, and that it's easily treatable and can return people to good health. But it's important to find it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too, it's great that more people are living longer, but it's about the quality of that life as well. So the more people that live longer, the more instances presumably of heart valve disease that can be identified. So we want people who are living much longer than they might have in the past to enjoy that life and to make sure they're getting their heart checked to facilitate that.
Exactly, and heart treatments have gotten so much better and so much more advanced over the years, so we're able to offer more treatments, even older people and potentially sicker people, and get them much more enjoyment out of their years, which is the most important bit.
And Sandra, you're a testament to that. You've already seen the difference in your life, as you've already mentioned there.
Oh yeah, definitely. A huge improvement in
All right,
quality of life.
It's been lovely speaking to you, Sandra. Thank you very much indeed. Sandra McGonigal there. Now, Ronan, just a question as it relates to Cree. I believe they're also hosting a series of events offering free stethoscope checks as well.
Yes, we ran an event down in one of the shopping centres in Galway during the week, and later on this week on Thursday evening there is a webinar about heart valve disease if anyone wants to learn more about it. It's free, it's on from 7 to 8 o'clock, and you can register for it on the Cree website, cree.ie.
Fantastic. Can I ask you one general question, if you don't mind, from a listener?
Yeah.
I have a family member who is 18 years old that has inappropriate sinus tachycardia and bellowing of their mitral valve. Can there be a connection between these two problems, and is there a chance of growing out of inappropriate sinus tachycardia?
We're getting into the realms of quite specific advice, but yes, as long as they're seeing a cardiologist would be the best person to judge just how much treatment is required for that. Sometimes medication is required, sometimes there's not, but it is something that can obviously be easily monitored and looked after.
Okay, Mr. Ronan Kelly, originally from Donegal, but now you're based in Galway all the time.
Based in Galway all the time, originally from Lifford, but the heart surgery unit covering the west and northwest is down in Galway, so very glad to have finally gotten home to Ireland.
Brilliant.
And looking forward to looking after people from the northwest.
Lovely stuff. Well, thanks for everything you do, and take care of yourself, and thanks for persisting with us as we fix the phone issues. I appreciate it.
No problem. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, that's Mr. Ronan Kelly there.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
At Ulster Bank, we are closing. And from the 8th of October, all customers whose accounts have passed the 6-month closure notice period will no longer be able to use their accounts. For our customers making nursing home payments, for themselves or on behalf of a loved one, make sure your payments remain uninterrupted by switching your account now. For more vulnerable customers who need extra assistance, please call our vulnerable customer line on 1800 656 001. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The Personal Injuries Assessment Board is Ireland's impartial state body for assessing personal injuries. Did you know that we use the exact same personal injuries guidelines as the courts to calculate compensation? But our process is less stressful, years faster, and far, far cheaper. Same compensation guidelines, lower costs, faster resolution. For a less painful way to resolve your personal injury claim, visit piab.ie.
Tourism businesses have a brand new mark of employer excellence, driven by the employee's voice. The Employer Excellence Programme recognises employers who consistently create better workplaces for their employees. Attract and retain top talent. Shine the spotlight on your business. The Employer Excellence Programme. Learn more at falterireland.ie.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €6.5 million. Play responsibly in store, in app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
All new weekends at Warehouse Bar and Kitchen. Bottomless brunch every Saturday and Sunday at Warehouse, only €25.
Every Sunday it's date or mate night with 2 main courses for €25.
Cocktail promotions and live music from 8 p.m. Warehouse Bar and Kitchen, Main Street, Letterkenny. Book your table now.
There's never been a better time to go full Lidl. Let's hear it from our customers.
Like, no matter what they want, there's something in the fridge. We discovered stuff that made our dinner special. They'd go, you didn't buy your meat in Lidl this week, did you buy it somewhere else? Yeah. Whereas now there's no point in me going anywhere else. It's Lidl. That's what they want.
Go on, go full Lidl today.
Let Joe McGee Butchers feed your family with their 5 for €20 deal. Choose from our fantastic deli range. Lasagnas, cottage pie, chicken curry and soups. Just a sample of our fine products, all made in store only at Joe McGee Butchers, Letterkenny and Glencar shopping centres. Find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Sewer Mahatsa column Ferreter and Shaw Biggie Lindy he Kedin Yasharka Gia Huck their Aves Bana Peabody Letterkenny Letterkenny Pipe Band August Uder Ahanta Francis McAwarge Bios Studio Lum and Shaw Highland Radio Sharka Gia Art.
Okay, we were talking about the ED and privacy at the ED, and quite a few of you messaging on that. This caller says, I heard my neighbour discuss his cancer details. At that stage, no one knew he was diagnosed. Can you imagine? Another, I heard a girl in ED talking about her gastric band operation. Everyone thought she'd lost weight via exercise. I'm not judging. It's her personal decision. But since she said it was via exercise, she clearly didn't want people to know. And, of course, that information then was heard in the ED. Surely the simple option would be to have a form to fill out and a liaison officer help those in distress in the ED there. Caller says she pays €320 a month on medication for a medical condition. Feels it's discriminatory to offer free contraception medication when there are people who have to fork out hundreds. Should the government not be introducing something for people in this position with the increased cost of living and school costs? Okay. I hope you're claiming back, if you're working, I hope you're claiming back your medical expenses against your tax. And if you're not, get onto one of those groups that look at your finances, and you should be able to recoup the last 4 years. The Mica is terrible business, but where do people think that the money is going to come from? It's another tax. Most pay enough. This is making people afraid. Well, where does the money come from anything? Where do you think the money is coming from when the government will stand up at the end of this month and they'll say, we're doing this for you. We're going to do this in terms of your electricity bills. We're going to do this for minimum wage workers. We're going to do this for... Where do you think that money's coming from? It's coming from you. It's your money. And also, you know, people built houses with products that they presumed were certified and of a certain standard. In fact, there were bodies in place to ensure that were the case. They employed architects and all manner of things. Everything was done correctly. They worked really hard to build their house, and it was built with crap products, and their houses are falling apart. So if anyone's entitled to be compensated for that and to have their house to return to the way it was, and in some cases they only want the money to build a smaller house, but that's not allowed. If anyone's entitled to that out of this slush fund that everything is paid for out of, surely it's those people. Paddy is 100% correct. Both these governments do not look after the people of Ireland. They are only interested in multinationals and pleasing Europe. I think when you say multinationals, I think Paddy was using the word multinationals, but I think you might have been talking about foreign nationals. I don't know, but that's the impression I got. A caller says they could slash prices on the ESB as they own a percentage of companies that they get the tax of, the fuel. They invited in the vulture funds. They don't care. Okay. Right, earlier in the week we had a huge reaction to a story, and that was the news of a caravan park owner who notified those resident on it that dogs were to be banned from the site from next March. And those who sort of took it up with the owner were pretty much told, as far as I didn't get to speak to the owner myself, but we had a statement, that that's the way it is. like it or lump it effectively, that in the terms and conditions, people were being told that if a dog littering problem around the caravan park continues, then dogs will be banned. About a third of the caravan owners, I think, have dogs. But it's slightly more complicated because there's a path from the that goes across or through or beside this caravan park to the beach, and the owner themselves said there was an awful lot of dog poo on that path and also on the sand dunes. More dog poo on the sand dune and the path than actually in the park itself. Now, I don't know what control they have on limited dogs in those areas, but they've banned dogs from the caravan site. Right, Sean, you're sympathetic to the caravan site owner. This caravan site owner or caravan site owners in general that might make this decision?
I would say caravan site owners in general. To be honest, I live on the west coast here, Donegal, and I've noticed a lot of issues in terms of going to the beach and dog litter on beaches, full stop. And I confronted a woman middle summer regarding dog litter. The dog did the toilet, and I said, "Excuse me, your dog's just have to do the toilet." She went back and she buried it.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's actually worse.
She didn't.
That's actually worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
at least if you see it, you have a chance.
100%. But we're talking about, listen, dog litter's one thing. The things that I've witnessed this summer has been quite unreal. Coming out of the beach down at Carrickfinn there was a car in front of us, and halfway up the road, they decided to dispose of the child's nappy out the window.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah. And I followed the car, obviously flashing the lights, till I eventually got him stopped, and he pulled in at a wider place, and obviously had a few choice words for him, and I said to him it was diabolical, disgraceful. I said, what gives you the right to come into Southern Ireland and think that that's normal and that should be allowed? You know what I mean?
What was his
response? You
response?
can tell he wasn't very happy. He was telling me to mind my own business. It had nothing to do with me. And he says that he says to me just to drive on, it had nothing to do with him.
And I'll tell you, those nappies are bad enough thrown out like that. But see, if an animal gets at it, or when it starts raining, I mean, the mess of a nappy will cover, 2 square yards. It's
unbelievable. And I can imagine, like, Greg, I must admit, I was so upset. I was just so angry. Do you know what I mean? And then just last weekend, I was in Letterkenny. I was up at the car boot sale, and on the way home again from Letterkenny on the new Kilmacrennan Road, there was a car in front of us, and they thought it was okay just to open up the window, and all their McDonald's, everything they had in the car just went straight out the window. Like, everything they had, all the bags, the rubbish, the paper just went, cups, everything just went straight out the window. I was fuming again, flashing the lights till I eventually got them stopped. And again, I had a few choice words for them. It wasn't very friendly, wasn't very nice, and says that, What makes you think that that's normal behaviour, that that's how you should get rid of your rubbish? You know, if you drive into the town of Kilmacrennan, there were loads of bin opportunities there for you to put your rubbish into. Keep it in your car till you get to a place where you can dispose of it, But again, I was told to F off, and it had nothing to do with me. So
there's a pattern here then in your experience that those who are inclined to chuck stuff out the window, they're brazen enough. They're not going like, oh, I can't believe I was spotted. I'm really sorry. They argue back. So that would indicate to me, and maybe I'm putting 2 and 2 together here, that would indicate to me that they know what they're doing and they don't care, because when someone pulls them over, they'll defend it and they'll tell you to F off. So is there a pattern here of people that are more inclined to sort of not give a damn, they're the most inclined to dump out the window?
Well, I said in the day of the incident on the beach when the person covered the poo with the sand, they just buried it. I hung about the car park because I was so fuming, and I was just waiting to see what car that I came back to, so I got a registration so I could have reported it. That's what I was waiting for. And I had said to a few other people about, whilst I was standing talking, people that I know that I meet on the beach regular, and they said that they've got to the stage they don't even bother saying to ones now the amount of people don't left the dog poo in the beaches and stuff. So they said that they were the same as me at the beginning. They would say, excuse me, your dogs. But the attitude they were getting, they just think now it's not even worth saying anything, and they just walk on.
I'm looking to ban dogs from blue flag beaches, but I said this to a rep from the council right when they started talking about the public consultation. Those who would do it are probably less inclined to give a crap about a bylaw. Do you know what I mean? Like the responsible dog owners aren't allowing their dogs to poo. It's the ones that aren't responsible, but I would suggest that they are those most likely to ignore, to flout any ban of dogs on beaches anyway. Do you know what I mean? So the responsible dog owners are being punished, whilst those, the minority...
That is what's so sad. And I was speaking to a woman who said to me that she normally let her dog off the lead. She said she won't do that now because the dog will go and sniff up the other dog's stuff, and then automatically other people think then that that's her dog that's done that. And she said, and even her dog would, you know what I mean? You know what dogs are like? They'll go and they'll smell other dogs, and they'll dig it up and they'll smell it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she said she felt she was taking responsibility and taking the blame that she was left in other dogs' dirt rather than, you know. And she said she doesn't even let her dog off the lead anymore, and the poor dog's pulling on the lead because it's like, God, you used to let me off and you used to love this. Now I'm not allowed. What have I done? You know.
Can't get near the perfume. But I know, Sean, you've mentioned NI cars a couple of times, and listen, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people in Donegal driving Northern registered vehicles.
Oh, yes.
A couple of the routes that I travel on regularly, there's dumping 2 or 3 times a week in the same places on back roads to people's homes. And if you look at the distance, the distance is almost exactly how long it would take you to eat a takeaway from one place in Donegal town and another place in Letterkenny. And you see the same type of rubbish on these roads 2 or 3 times a week. So that would suggest to me it's not just people that are visiting the area. There are people from the area that rather than taking it home and put it in their own bin, or God forbid, even burning it out the back of the house, they're not allowed to do that. But anyway, they're dumping it out onto the road. So I don't think it really matters where you happen to be from. I think it's your attitude.
Yes. Do you know what? I totally agree with you, Gregory. 100% agree with you. Now, you know the way, like the likes of your show there, now you're doing video and so on, that people can see. I think, to be honest, you know what would be a fantastic system is, even on social media, is 90% of it, well, not 90%, a big percentage of people now are driving, they've got dash cams in the car. I for one, have got one. And when I brought my information into the local Garda station, you know, it was almost like a shrug of the shoulders, like what can they do? Because they weren't going to go and look for this car, and do you know what I mean?
So you actually had video of the dumping
Oh yeah,
incident.
I had video of both incidents and went to and handed in, like, you know what I mean.
Did
went
they
to
take
the
it off
hanging
you at least?
No, they didn't. They just looked at it.
Wow.
They just looked at it. I was, you don't understand how angry I was with this. But what I'm trying to say to you is, I think a platform where, you know, even if we had a place we could, on our newspapers, where you could have it like a weekly place where if somebody catches something like that, name and shame.
Yeah, but you know what would happen if you did that, Sean? Because of regulations, whatever you do on your own Facebook page or something, if I were to publish that information, I would be shut down. Because
that's what's so sad. But that's what I'm saying. But if the likes of a newspaper had a wee column every week and say, you know, that this was witnessed, because you can freeze time the video down to the moment of the rubbish coming out the window. The same with an nappy, I can freeze time it where you could have it, the photograph, and even if they wanted to blank out the registration, but it's letting people aware. Oh my God, that was my car. I shouldn't have done that. You know.
I know it sounds people going, are you serious? But if it didn't identify the people, because that's when you would get into trouble, because they could say, well, this was happening, or that I wasn't driving the car, or I sold that. You know what I'm on about? It would be illegal.
No, 100%. That's why I'm saying, like, I mean, even if they had the registration blanked out, but at the principal hang up, the people open up the paper going, oh my God, that's my car. Yeah. I am so embarrassed.
So then, Sean, to get to the nitty gritty of it, then the reason why you might be supportive of this of a caravan park owner is because you're at your wit's end. You've tried to approach people and have a say with them. You've tried to report them to the Gardaí, and you're not happy with the response. So you're saying, you know what? Maybe the only way to resolve these issues are hardcore, unpopular, outright bans. And is that really where you're at? And is that why you might be supporting caravan park owners?
I'm 100% with the caravans, based on exactly what you said there. There's not a thing. It seems to be that, as you said, the Gardaí, they can't take this full on, unfortunately. We haven't got the manpower, never mind anything else. Christ, we can't deal with crime, never mind something like this.
Yeah.
And
yes, but this doesn't have to be a role for the police, though.
No,
you're
100%.
Litter wardens or people. You know, there's calls on the news today for traffic wardens to be around Donegal town, right? They're not the police, but they are there to try and keep the flow of traffic going, right? And they can be hard, and they can do that. What's wrong with someone with a bit of authority, a number of people, patrolling the beaches, enforcing these laws, trying to change people's habits? If you think you might get caught, that's how speed vans work. If you think you might get caught, you're less likely to speed. the chances of you getting caught are very thin, very slim. But the fear of getting caught, you slow down. But there's no fear of being found or punished for dog poo, throwing nappies out a window, illegal dumping. People do it because they don't fear getting caught.
Well, we have signs up on our beach. There's signs on our beach now, the one that I use regularly, and there's signs up saying there'll be a fine if you're caught with your dog littering and so on and so on. Nobody's paying no attention. There's nobody there to enforce that. So I totally get what you're saying. It would be fantastic. I mean, we're talking about crisis, about not enough work for people and stuff like that. Oh, what a job! I would love that job. I would only be I'd be there in camouflage in the sand catching people.
You're doing it for free. Come here. I'm reliably informed that if you hand that footage into the county council, the litter warden will act on it.
Oh, that's good to know. Oh, that's good to know. That's what I'll do. I'll forward that.
And they, in fairness, they have perhaps the time and the resources to do it. Well, as you mentioned already, the Gardaí are probably already well stretched.
Yeah,
another caller suggests that maybe, I don't know what your attitude was when you approached this, but they say that if you maybe had approached the person responsible in a kinder, gentler manner, that they might have been more likely to react in a more sensible manner and change their ways. So were you not aggressive, but were you forthright? Do you think maybe you could have been trying to be more persuasive and to appeal to some different part of their emotions?
Well, I'll be blunt honest with you, Gregory. I was driving home. I was driving up from the beach. It was a beautiful day. I had been down swimming. I had spoke to so many lovely people, and I mean from all over parts of Ireland, because it was such a beautiful day. There were campers there, and I was on a wee high. I was driving up the road. I was all excited. It was a beautiful day, and the next thing, this nappy comes out this X5 Jeep window. Gregory, I was fuming. I couldn't believe it, because I was all proud. Here I was down, all proud of Donegal with our tourism there and seeing all this and seeing that side of it was just brilliant. And then to go up the road to see this, I was fuming. And I must admit, when I eventually got them stopped, I says, "Excuse me, do you think what you have just done, like what world do you live in, and do you think that's okay?" And it just told me to drive on and mind my own business. Mm-hmm. So, and then obviously I used a few choice words then. But
I think there was a bit of back and forth of
without
choice language.
Gregory, it was understand. I mean, anybody that wants to say that you would approach that, you need to have seen what I want. And I just think it's valid. I just think at the end of the day, I love my county. I'm proud of my county, and I even when I was down there for Garbrooks there the week Friday there, and I loved it. I love telling people about Donegal. I love telling them to come up to visit Donegal, and I always will, because our county's stunning. We have a beautiful county, and I want people to.
Yeah, all right.
It's fantastic.
Just in relation to the Garth concert, did you find? I mean, you're obviously a very patriotic person to your county, to your country as well. But did you get an extra sense of pride of your Irishness at that concert?
Oh my God! Like even now, you talking to me, mentioning that with his opening song, with it where he comes up onto the stage, and the green, white, and orange flag, it's mind blowing how he opened up the song Ireland, coming home to Ireland. Was, oh my God, he was so emotional. It was the first night I was there, and the emotion was real. You could see it was real. Honestly, I genuinely was so proud and so patriotic, to be honest. It's like the Scotch when they watch. It's like the Scottish people when they watch Braveheart.
Yeah, it did stirred up those emotions for me. I was like thinking, you know what, we're not.
It totally did.
Because we are not all of us. Some of us are kind of. I don't know what it is. Is it maybe because of our history? That we are sometimes, we don't celebrate our Irishness as much as maybe Americans might celebrate their Americanism or whatever it might be. Okay, listen anyway, Sean, sorry I digress. Thanks for that. Keep up the good work. Keep your eyes peeled.
No, thank you.
All right, take care of yourself. Thanks for calling me Gregory, by the way. It was nice to be called my full name for once. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Take care of yourself.
Care now.
All right, bye-bye. I thought I was going to be told off. That's normally when I used to get Gregory. Okay, listen, back with more in a moment.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Hear that? That's the sound of you saving. When you drive an electric vehicle, you're helping save our beautiful planet. And you're saving yourself not having to pay ever-increasing fuel prices. Find out more about what you could save at fasterevcharge.com. Save today and tomorrow. This project has been supported by the European Union's Interreg 5A programme.
Brian McCormick Sports in Letterkenny are looking to sign some new team players to work part-time on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for a minimum of 16 hours per week. Also, part-time positions for third-level students are available on Fridays and Saturdays. Retail experience is not necessary, but would be an advantage. See Instagram or Facebook for details, or apply by email to office@bmcsports.ie.
Don't stand still. Evolve. Call and see our biggest ever selection on men's suits. We will have your size in stock today. Which suit will you choose from our fantastic collection at Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park?
You might think you know the wild Atlantic way, but maybe it's time for a closer look. Stand tall at the towering edge of the world and discover adventure, rugged and wild. Leap from the mainland with an escape to Valentia Island, or take a bite out of sparkling city life in Galway before finding sanctuary among the wilderness of Wild Neffin Ballycroy National Park. The Wild Atlantic Way, yours to explore. Keep discovering at discoverireland.ie.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballyshannon should attend the clinic in Coláiste Columkill Mercy Hall on Monday 12th of September, and donors from Donegal, Killybegs and Dunlow should attend the clinic in the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town from Tuesday 13th to Thursday 15th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. Visit giveblood.ie to see eligibility and clinic details.
All right, a texter says, do you think people with good houses not falling down should pay for others with mica? Well, that's like saying, do you think people in good health should have to contribute towards hospitals? Do you think if you've no children that you should have to contribute to the maintenance and running of schools? If your children didn't go on to third level, should your tax be used to support those going to university? If you've got a well, do you think your money should be used to fund Irish Water? That's just really not how it works, as far as I see it. Just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean... I mean, that is the kind of attitude that when the government started referring to taxpayers' money, never before had you ever heard of any spending being referred to as taxpayers' money. We have to be responsible with how we spend taxpayers' money. Everything they spend, everything, is taxpayers' money.
Business Matters, in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. The part-time Level 8 Honours degree in Business is delivered through a mix of online and face-to-face lectures. Email execedbusiness@lyit.ie. That's EXECED business@lyit.ie, or call 9186206.
Okie doke. Kieran O'Donnell, the presenter of Business Matters, joins us in studio now. Kieran, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you getting on?
I'm getting on the best.
All right, good stuff. Before we get to what's coming up in the podcast, which is available for you right now live on our website, let us talk about some news. 3 Ireland's grants programme. What's going on here?
Yeah, Greg, applications are now being taken for SMEs for 3 Ireland's annual grants small business programme. So this initiative will fund 10 small businesses across Ireland and award them a portion of the 100,000 bursary, and that bursary will be made up of cash, advice, support and connectivity solutions from 3 Ireland's expert business advisors. The closing date for applications is October the 2nd.
Okie doke. Plans are progressing for a new enterprise building in Burton Port. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, some work going on down in the harbour area. Expressions of interest in relation to the new Alt and Corran enterprise building in Burton Port are being sought. So Alt and Corran Harbour redevelopment is being funded by Donegal County Council and the Department of Rural and Community Development, and that's under the Rural Regeneration and Development Fund. Phase 1 of the development is currently under construction, and the new centre will provide opportunities for employment and entrepreneurship. So for further information, email info@donegal.ie and insert Burton Port Enterprise Building in the subject line, or you can telephone 07491 72538.
Okay, now I think most students in Donegal are choosing the option to study at ATU in Donegal, an even more attractive prospect now, of course, because of its university status, and there are still options available for people.
Yeah, it just caught my eye last night, Greg. ATU Donegal still has places available on a number of programmes in areas such as business, law, sport, science, engineering, tourism, computing, design and creative media. So available places give students the chance to change their minds, as you say, and also to make CAO applications if they have previously not done so. So to check out all programmes that are listed as LY on the CAO website, or alternatively, they can check out ATU Donegal's social media platforms.
All rightio, now people can have their say on the future vision for Buncrana.
Yeah, Donegal County Council is currently preparing a local area plan for Buncrana, and that is part of the new County Development Plan 2024 to 2030. So as part of this process, the Council is seeking to identify suitable future housing lands in Buncrana, and a public meeting to discuss the issue has been fixed for the Inishowen Gateway Hotel on Wednesday next, that's September the 21st from 7:30pm.
All right, now it looks like an increase in the minimum wage is on the horizon.
Yeah.
As we know, a couple of people on the Low Pay Commission, I believe it was, weren't happy with this. They said it should go up to much higher and might indeed accelerate calls for a living wage. But anyway, the Cabinet have been talking about this.
Yeah, and the Cabinet this morning are set to approve an 80-cent rise in the minimum wage, as you say, and that will increase it to €11.30 per hour from January next year. So this is one of the biggest increases in the minimum wage, but the Low Pay Commission has warned that the rate alone cannot compensate workers for inflation and recent increases in the cost of living, and it recommends that additional measures are taken to support low-paid workers. And I heard some of the Labour representatives coming out last night saying it was too little too late, and they were advocating a €1 minimum increase to that. So we'll wait and see what happens there.
Well, just by the by, if you take into consideration one TD's pay increase of €6,500 per year, that's just their most recent pay increase. One TD's increase would be enough to fund the minimum wage increase of over 8,000 hours work. You know, and that is the difference between people that are scraping to get by. I'm not going to drag you into this politically, Kieran, but it just makes me puke, to be honest with you, that it's a derisory, it's an insult to people. And then you have those who are those sitting around that cabinet table. The ministers don't get this pay rise, okay, accept that, but they're on an absolute fortune talking about and patting themselves on the back saying, 0.8 of a cent per hour or of a euro per hour is good enough for people. But
yeah, look, I don't think €12 as a minimum rate is any way excessive in the current climate and given the cost of living crisis that we're in.
We will be back with a look forward to today's podcast after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
An enduring power of attorney, or EPA, is a legal document which appoints someone I trust to make decisions about my finances, property and personal welfare if I can't due to frailty, illness or disability.
It's good for everyone that Dad has an EPA. If needed, we will know who he trusts to make certain decisions and what his preferences are.
Plan ahead and safeguard yourself. Talk with your solicitor about making an enduring power of attorney. See safeguardingireland.org.
For all your health and beauty needs, you can always rely on McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. If you need a prescription, just call or order online at mcgees.ie and it will be ready for you in advance before you arrive. For beauty and skin care, there's all the big names at great prices in store and online. And for your photo printing needs, simply download the McGee's Photo Prints app or click on the website link. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, for all your health and beauty needs, and so much more. Call 91-21409 or visit mcgees.ie.
Have you heard about the Regal Room at Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford Strabane? Feel the glitz and the glamour of old-style cinema elegance with a luxurious modern twist. Enjoy a red roomy armchair or love seat, each with its personal footstool. Relax and unwind with a nice glass of wine, some Italian gelato or even a pizza. To find out more about the Regal Room at Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford Strabane, or to book your luxury experience, go to eclipsecinemas.com.
The new TFI Young Adult Leap Card is for 19 to 23-year-olds, offering a 50% discount on Transport for Ireland fares, and now also includes many commercial bus operators too. Students who are in full-time education and are over 23 can also avail of these savings with a TFI Student Leap Card. So save 50% on fares with a young adult or student leap card across the Transport for Ireland network and participating commercial bus operators. See leapcard.ie for details and to order yours today.
If you're in business and you need to accept card payments, An Post offer the best value in card payment solutions, saving Irish businesses on average 25% on current costs. It's fast and easy to set up or switch. Your money hits your account the next day. Call An Post on 1-800-300-150 or email cardpayments@anpost.ie and start accepting card payments today.
Okay, right. Let's see what is coming up on this week's Business Matters podcast. Kieran, you've got all the deets.
Yeah, this week, Greg, I'll be joined by Joe Gibson, owner of J. Gibson Promotions and fiddle player with Sailor Bill. Joe was raised with traditional music, began playing the fiddle at the age of 8 and got £20 for his first paid gig at a cottage in Creasley at the age of 13. He set up his own company with the help of DLDC a number of years ago and is planning to tour Europe with Sailor Bill next year. During our conversation, I asked Joe what was the best lesson he'd learned in business.
It's to treat it like a business. I do love what I do, right? And I do have a bit of a passion for business as well on the side. But at the end of the day, I love to play music and I love to get out there and just rock out with the system, playing whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be my own music in particular. I actually really love just playing anything at all. But if I want to continue to do that thing that I love, you do have to put in the effort. You do have to do the thing, as they say, right? Whatever that thing may be. Right now, today's thing is filing VAT. I have to do that. After that, then I have to get the tracks sent off for mixing. And after that, I have to start cutting up videos. But I have to do it. I have to sit down and do it and get it out there ASAP, because before I know it, the next project is on my table. And it might be a small one like a gig, or it might be a festival.
Really interesting. And even though it's a passion then, Kieran, you have to look at it, I think is what he's saying there, is you have to look at it with your head before your heart, even though it's something that...
Yeah, I suppose Joe, during the course of the conversation, and in his own words, he said he had the crack for a long time. I suppose he reached a stage where if it was going to be feasible and to make a lasting future in it, that he had to probably put structure in his life in terms of his business. And with the help of DLDC, he's there now. He was going extremely well before COVID come. He's getting back. He's regained that lost ground, and the band is Sailor Bill is the mainstay of the business. But you see, as another example of people turning their passion into a business and trying to make it work.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this podcast. It's all elements of business. The full interview with Joe Gibson available now on our website at highlandradio.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And it's on the radio too, of course, Kieran.
Yeah, after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday evening.
And if anyone wants to get in contact with you about the programme or feedback or to suggest future guests or suggest themselves or anything like that at all, you're very open to that kind of stuff. Kieran, what's the email?
Yeah, no problem, Greg. Just drop me an email, please. businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
All right, brilliant stuff, Kieran. Thank you. You're not going to Garth Brooks this weekend?
No, I was talking to a number of people who were, and I think anybody.
I can't believe I'm constantly talking about Garth Brooks.
Anybody I spoke to, Greg, they were blown away by the whole experience.
I'm not even a fan. I just find the whole thing quite remarkable. Everyone wants to go now, Friday, Saturday. Do you remember the stuff on social media? And I couldn't help but comment on a couple of posts saying, seriously, do you read? This is not. They were going like, oh, well, it's going to be half empty. No one really wants to go. Right. And here we are now. Everyone wants a ticket for Friday and Saturday. I knew. When people were saying that it was wide of the mark. But anyway, listen, Kieran, I digress. I really just had 40 seconds to fill.
All right.
And I've done it with... Well, I don't have 40 seconds to fill anymore.
Joe was part of the Oakfest event of the weekend. Yeah. And again, I suppose...
Everyone loved that.
Yeah, so I suppose... He talked to you about maybe it having more potential to get even bigger and better, which is good news as well.
I think so. And those things grow organically. Yeah. That's when they're successful.
Very
Kieran,
much.
listen, thanks so much. See you next Wednesday.
Good morning, Greg.
It's been great having you on the show, and it's been great having you listening to the show or watching it and interacting with us. Back tomorrow morning at 9. Stay tuned. John Breslin's up around the Northwest after the news at 12.
The 9 till noon